but we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready now to level up? It's time, get up.
ESL Mobile Challenge is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Hello and welcome to the ESL Mobile Challenge. We're here on the final day of the final week. It's all come down to this, is where a couple of teams have already qualified. Some of them are sadly not able to make it through, but we're still trying to determine a few of these teams, and it may even come down to that final matchup. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, because we've got so many exciting wars coming up with the 5 matches coming up later on today. I'm Lethal. Joining me is Lady B and Judo once again. Always a pleasure to work with you guys nonetheless. B, I'll start with you. How are you getting on?
Doing well. Really excited for the final day of matches, and I'm impressed about how close it's been kept that to this point, we still don't know who's exactly going to be the top 4. Isn't that right, Judo?
It certainly is, and I can't stop thinking we have just literally been discussing across ourselves. If this team beats this team, it means it comes down to this and stars, and honestly, anybody is still in this, but it is super exciting that it comes down to the final show day as to who is going to make the finals.
I think we're relatively good at maths in terms of the circumstances here, but we're going to let the guys and the admins in the back room to let them do it for us, as we're going to be cracking on with his matches later on. But you're right, though, it could just come down to stars, maybe even time, depending on how the wars panned out earlier on. But let's talk a little bit about the leaderboard first before we get into anything else. As this is the final play day, so we've only got 5 matches left, but we'll get the obvious out of the way, as Alternate Attacks and Tompenai have pretty much qualified. They have guaranteed their spots into the ESL Mobile Challenge finals. Team Elevate sadly will not be able to make it, and neither will Repotted, because they need at least 9 wins to try and get themselves through to ESL Mobile Challenge finals, and Repotted only have 2 games in hand. So the storyline, guys, is all going to be about Tribe Gaming, MCES, and Penta, and who's going to make it through out of those 3.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have a big matchup today between Tribe Gaming and Penta, which really puts everything on the line. And not just for Penta, not just for Tribe, but more importantly for MCES. Because if we see Penta taking a win in that matchup, MCES is going to have some big worries going up against ATN later today.
They certainly are. And the thing is, if Tribe beats Penta, unfortunately, that would be the end of the road for them. They wouldn't be able to catch up, unfortunately, as it is their only matchup today. So we do have to see if Penta will beat Tribe. Keep it interesting towards the end of the show, but even if that is the case and we know our top 4, they can still mix around to see who will be seeded where moving into the finals, Lethal.
Yeah, I'm not going to mess around here. We're going to go straight into the schedule, because we have a lot to talk about here in comparison to what we normally do in the previous play days. But let's start off with Team Elevate. We'll be playing against Tompenai as our first match of the day. This is going to be a key matchup in this next one between Tribe and Penta, as Penta need to win both their matches. And funny enough, Tribe are actually one of the teams they need to compete against to get one of these top 4 spots. So if they win that, they're going to give them a bit more leadway to actually be able to try and qualify, but it's not a guarantee as of yet, as we do have Team Elevate against Repotted Gaming afterwards. And if we go and scroll to the final couple of matches of the day, we do have MCES versus Alternate Attacks, which is a huge matchup just in itself, not even talking about the leaderboard overall. And MCES, you've got to remember that they need to lose in order to give Penta the opportunity to at least try and qualify. And what better way to do it than against the line of Alternate Attack? So I think some Penta fans are going to be supporting them in that matchup.
Definitely. I think that's going to be probably the big one to keep your eye on. And of course, MCS to follow. Even if that doesn't play into it, it's going to be a great match to watch. And of course, we're going to finish off the day here with Tribe facing off against Repotted Gaming. It's a good thing for Tribe that they have this extra matchup, because it will help them in the long run, even if they do lose out the match against Penta here. But Judo, it's really going to be an exciting day once we get into that second matchup of the day. This is going to be big.
It certainly is. For Tribe Gaming, having the 2 matches, like you said, that could mean they go into 3rd place and MCES cannot catch them with only having 1 match. But interestingly, since Penta only have the 1 match, even if they win, they are level on wins with MCES. Penta beat MCES earlier on in the challenge, but MCES also beat Penta. So it would come down to total stars across the challenge for those teams, and even other factors if that was level. So it's just going to be super interesting. I can't wait for it all to kick off.
I really can't either. It's going to be an absolute blast today. And if you're just joining us at the ESL Mobile Challenge, not really too sure what's been going on. Of course, the top 4 out of these 7 teams need to try and qualify for the ESL Mobile Challenge, which is in just over a week's time. And the main story is the fact that Tribe have 2 matches and they have 2 opportunities now to try and qualify. They've been 1, but that's going to be it for Penta. And also with MCES, they only have 1 match left to go against Alternate Attacks. They need to win that, and if they don't, but it means they may struggle to also qualify. But Penta need to win both in order to even potentially secure their spot in the top 4. But I'm going to stop talking now. That is me pretty much done here for the start of the show. I'm going to leave it in the comfortable hands of Lady B and Judo.
Thank you so much, Lethal. We do appreciate that. And we need to talk about this first matchup, Lady B. It is Tompenai versus Elevate. Now, let's set the scene for everybody, because Elevate cannot qualify. Tompenai in 2nd position. If they win this, they are guaranteed at least 3rd. MCES could not catch them. But even though Elevate cannot qualify, they will be wanting revenge for last month's World Championship qualifier, where Tompenai beat them in the final. So this is an interesting matchup.
Oh, they don't even want revenge just for that, Judo. They want revenge for the first week of this challenge series where they went 12-12. Elevate was able to hold a 1-star defense against Tompenai, and it looked bleak. It looked dire for Tompenai to turn it back around. They clawed their way back up top, tied them up 12-12, and then took the percent lead. And that was a start for Team Elevate, which was unfortunate. So I think they want to finish this off strong. They've got a lot of bones to pick here. And this would also help them potentially put up more wins, which in the seeding they won't be able to make into the top 4, but in the ultimate run through, this is good for them to be higher up in the rankings at the end of the day. But I mean, Tompenai has been in the top of the leaderboards throughout, so it's a tough match for them, though it's not to say we haven't seen some teams holding them back to those lower star counts.
Absolutely, and I think Elevate will be coming out to this matchup with everything, knowing that yesterday Tompenai struggled a little bit. They went up against ATN and had a couple of shaky attacks right at the start of the war. ATN getting the perfect against them. So they are going to have to hold it together as a team to make sure that they can get the job done. They can aim to qualify in the 2nd seed and at least give them that boost in confidence moving in towards the finals.
And it's you know, for Elevate, it's all about street cred. They want to come back out of this. They want to fight their way. And I like that, even though there isn't a possibility for them, there's still this reason to drive them through, including, as you mentioned, the World Championship qualifiers, where they did go toe-to-toe. And you're talking about the gold and silver ticket winners here that we have facing off. So this is for sure going to be an incredible matchup at hand. And I do have to give it to Elevate, because despite being in the lower rankings, they have been giving it their all throughout the series. They've done phenomenal work. We've seen not only great offense coming in, but we've also seen some great defense. And that's what I want to see coming from them today.
Absolutely. And you raised a really good point there, because I was going to mention myself, I've had the privilege of meeting some of the Elevate players in previous years when we were allowed to, you know, join for offline events. But I know they are the type of players that are very humble. They always want to put on a show. So even if they didn't have anything lined up after this where they wanted to build their confidence, even just for the competitive scene and the esports of Clash of Clans, they would put on their absolute best performance, even though they can't qualify. It's just in their nature. So I am looking forward to see whether Eve Carlier will be kicking things off with his drag bat, because he's been tearing apart bases with that. And he's one of the only players in the current meta I've seen successfully use it again and again.
And one of the other things that we see them excelling at is the Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash. I mean, we see it as one of the more common ground strategies coming through. And Elevate really has a great handle of it. They are a versatile team where we do see air coming around and we do see the ground attacks. And when I think of air and Elevate, I do think of Mark and his spectacular Queen Charge Lalo. So I do hope to see them finishing off today with at least one of those.
I was going to mention the Queen Charge Lalos from Mark because we've seen that in the qualifier. We've seen that throughout the challenge. Elevate do have a very good diversity in their attacking. We have seen quite a lot of Queen Chargers from Tompenai as well. We know them as the masters of the Queen Charge Lalo. They've kind of switched things up in previous times, but it seems throughout the challenge they have defaulted back a lot to the Queen Charge, whether it be the Lava Loon or even the Drag Rider. We've seen them use quite a lot, but it seems they are using quite a lot of Queen Charges, so maybe that is something Elevate have got their eye on and will be looking at Mark to give a little bit of input on their base building.
That is definitely a great point there, and I'm curious to see if that is going to try to hold back Tompenai because they were able to do that previously. But we have, as you mentioned it, Eve Kala kicking it off with the drag bat. This is a great way to start. Let's see if he comes in fierce and strong and using the heroes to start sectioning off this base, building up the funnel to narrow out the pathing for these dragons. The king taking the lead here, tanking, and we do have an ice golem, though I think that's going to be reserved for the back end to do either some tanking for the royal champion or for those bats.
Yeah, it just depends on where he decides to move the bats in from, but you can see the Barbarian King tanked for the Queen significantly there. We've already got the Royal Champion moving in towards that multi-target Inferno. Also see the Wizard Tower in that area. Whenever you are practicing or trying the Drag Bat, it is all about taking the splash damage. Now, the Royal Champion is targeted by the Expo, but she is going to get both the multi and the Wizard Tower. And you can see the Queen is going to hopefully get a little bit more value as Kale is already moving the bats in to try and help relieve a little bit of damage from her.
That Yak did some amazing work to tank for the Queen, opening up the wall. She has this access to take down the CC troops, help keep the dragons focused on course, and I see a lovely spot for a bat bomb on the back end of this with a scatter shot as he continues to push these dragons around. Finally gets that town hall down as loons were just circling around the tornado trap, and the drags have easy push straight through into the center of this base. Ice Golem coming down, and he's actually not going to bat bomb it, but he is going to start placing these bats in, working through, holding on to the freezes for the scatter.
Kale obviously just a little bit worried on the DPS if he was to use the bats in that area on top of the scatter in the dead zone. So that's why he decided to use the Ice Golem. Obviously the scatter shot cannot shoot at both ground and air troops at the same time. I actually thought he was going to use it for the Wizard Tower. As you see right now, it took out all of the bats. But obviously Kale did know he had a lot of dragons moving through that area. And you don't need your bats to survive. You don't need your dragons to survive if the bats are surviving. It's basically one or the other. It's obviously nice to have both, but Kale knew he could get better value from the bats at the bottom, survive and protect the dragons towards the top, and that is exactly as we predicted. Picture perfect from Kale, kicking things off with the 3 stars, not making this easy for Tompenai.
This is exactly the start that Elevate need to just go back and showcase that though they're down for the count on this one, they're here for a reason. Like, they've made their way through for, you know, their skill, their amazing just offense, and what they've really focused on this year in particular is their defense. And I think that's what's helped them not only here but in many other leagues and working their way up the ranks. It wasn't their go this time around to make the connections work together there. But Michuo quickly kicking this one off. We've got the Zapquake firing away into the center of the base to start up the shape for the Lalo pathing. And with that, we're able to navigate our loons directly around the center of the base without having to worry about any possible traps within it, and also taking down one of those infernos. Multis in the core of the base are really detrimental to your Lalo push, so nice move to get that down early on.
They certainly are, particularly with the traps around them. But one thing I always like for the lightning spells is if you basically take out an entire compartment, because you can see how surgical this now is. The king for the most right-hand side compartment, queen moving in towards the enemy queen. No doubt we'll see the royal champion. There she is to 6 o'clock. One hero per compartment, just picking them apart one by one, setting up the lava loon. And it is looking gorgeous so far with this hero dive. As long as the royal champion gets the multi and the air defense, I think he's looking pretty good. He's got the stone slammer selected at the moment. Interesting to know if he's sticking with that, but he can obviously switch if he feels something goes wrong.
And definitely indeed. The queen actually still going strong. And this is where the stone slammer is coming into play to help pick off the scatter shot. I was curious for the pathing where this would go, but does this mean he is going to indeed force Solalo coming in for the town hall that he'll have to worry about coming in from the top side? So it will be the last remaining thing other than a single targeting Inferno. Let's see if he holds on to some loons to try and keep them safely through, but a nicely timed warden ability will help keep them safe as long as he can hold on to, I would say, a haste or a rage, but drops that final haste coming in. Let's see where he places the rage now.
Interesting to see him attacking from the opposite side, putting everything into this. He's holding on to the warden ability, obviously. Does not have a rage or a haste to get the balloons outside from the town hall. But fortunately, he's got a little bit of a split here. Does he have enough loons over the town hall? It's getting scary, but it does go down. And he's got a big group of them now moving to the left, one group to the right. Is it enough? He's slowly reinforcing loons towards the Tesla. He's still got 30 seconds and he needs everything to be cleaned up, but I think he's just going to run out of DPS towards the end here.
Yeah, I like that he was just being very careful about these loons. He knows he has this warden here, but it's hung up on taking down this king. We said it yesterday.
Through the king.
That's beautiful with the king's position there, but it's also not going to leave enough time. But we talked about this king being a huge defense for air. Oh, if he could get the single down. Oh, the 3-star coming in for Machuo. That chain was huge to help get through for the Tesla. I mean, that could have really stalled this if the king didn't work in his favor. And this is what we do wind up seeing. We see these kings that can stand there, block your pathing, and make it almost impossible to try and get that 3-star. Not the case for Machuo. He can count on his Electro Owl to really help out.
We often jinx the attacker, but do you think we jinxed the defender there, Lady B? What happened? I think we both thought it was going south, but the Electro Owl chaining through the king to the Tesla was genius. Well planned there by Mature. I'm sure he had that planned out from the very beginning. But let's move back across. It is Eve Carlito now with the Queen Charge Dragon Rider. We saw how popular this has been in the challenge. The stats we had prior to yesterday's matches was, I believe, 52 hits and nigh on a 60% 3-star hit rate as well. So pretty good for this attack strategy.
It definitely is. The queen working through, and this is a big component for this particular raid. Queen Charge is a very useful tool. I think it's something that any player really needs to learn to excel at. The healer's getting slightly picked off here, but Queen quickly comes back through. And the main part of this is to help shape up the funnel, but you want to pick up some big value. And many times we are seeing the Queen go for the Town Hall, but I noticed that he has a blimp here. I'm curious to see his plan for it because, as we see from Tribe, it can often be used to help get into the center of the base for some of the unreachable areas where the scatter shot remains.
Yeah, I think it's all going to come down to where he decides to place the jump, which we should see momentarily, whether he controls the Queen into that central compartment with the scatter and just blimps the Town Hall, probably directly over where the Queen has been. He's already tested that area with balloons, which makes me think the blimp will be for the Town Hall. But like you said, he could do either or here. Maybe it depends on what he's got in the clan castle. Looks like he is going to blimp the Town Hall. What I was going to say is if he blimps the scatter shot, he might be able to protect those troops in order to join in on the back end.
But I mean, this Queen has access to not only the scatter shot, but the Town Hall is reachable as well. Let's see how he plays his cards here because the blimp could potentially be used to help push the funnel for these drag riders to continue working along if the queen does backtrack. He's being very patient about this. Switches to the Stone Slammer, which means we're going to see him help with the funnel. Drops open the Ice Golem King coming in for the multi-compartment. And this is exactly the push that the drag riders needed, cutting across into the back end scatter. Look at that queen go. Beautiful jump placement, picking up some big value with her.
Just showing you why it is important to have extra plans as well. Making sure he had the Battle Blimp selected just in case he needed it for the Town Hall. Can always switch it to the Stone Slammer. Help with damage, help with pathing, and moving down to the back end of the base here. Elevate have tore apart this layout. There is nothing going to stop it now. Doesn't even have to reveal his Clan Castle troops. Carlito was listening, and we were thinking, is he going for the Town Hall? Is he going for the scatter shot? No, he wants both of those. And what a beautiful job that was. Didn't even need those Clan Castle troops in the end.
I wanted to see what was in it. I was like, please open. It was hanging on by a thread. I was curious if there actually was anything in it or if he was playing it risky. You know, we've seen that move coming in from Vala where he almost never reveals what's in that Stone Slammer, but it's a super tanky item that can help out quite a bit. And I think you're absolutely 100% right that it was used to have an additional option there, but I always like to think that maybe, just maybe, he was playing it a little bit gutsy. Amualin, though, coming in and trying to fire away with another 3-star to tie it up here. And he does drop in those lightning spells quick to help take down the sweepers, both right up next to each other, and this is going to make a much easier push for his drag riders to actually work their way through now.
Is this the Frozen Drag Rider attack? 7 drag riders, 5 freeze spells. I definitely haven't seen this variation too often. I don't think I've ever seen it, to be honest with you. Picking off the air defense at the bottom, not only relieving damage from the Dragon Riders, but helping them beeline through the center of the base, but a couple of them are drawn to the top alongside that Battle Blimp, so not ideal for Almoral in that, but he does have his heroes and a lot of spells he can use on the back end of the base now, but the multi-target Inferno, in the center of the base, just not going down, Lady B.
Ooh, let's see if he can get a redirect from these drag riders, but it does not look like it as the scatter shot fires away, taking on too much damage. And the Warden also taking on some heat here. We do have the dragon, we have the Electro Owl that can make their way through, just unreachable for the Queen, and the Royal Champ is already on the board. They're going to have to hang on to these abilities. He's going to have to hope his Queen can be through, that the Royal Champion can take cover, take on the scatter shot, drops the invisibility spell to keep the Royal Champ alive and going, keep her going through, take on the scatter. Ooh, the freeze doesn't quite cover it, but it does get the Archer Tower at least. And let's see if the Queen's going to be able to burn her way through, get it on, but that Electro Owl trying to give her some opportunity.
Oh, there's still a lot of defenses as well for the Royal Champion to get through here. She actually redirects to the multi, but the Queen goes down. Can the Royal Champion get this? 2 Tesla and an Archer Tower. She does have to get through the Wizard Tower first, and there's 2 Skelly Traps in that area next to the Town Hall. Not a chance now. And after 2 attacks, Tompenai find themselves 2 stars behind Elevate, and this is nerve-wracking for them, because if they won this war, they would have guaranteed their at least 3rd place positioning, but they could actually get knocked down to 4th, depending on if Tribe and MCES win their matches. They are still qualified, but they could end up being 4th if they don't win this match.
And this is definitely showing the defense that we've been talking about for Elevate, what they've been bringing through to be able to hold back Tompenai. I think for any team to be able to hold back Tompenai, a team that puts up 14, 15-star wars, even holding them off once is a huge accomplishment. So Elevate coming in strong, showing not only that offense that we were talking about, but the defense that they have been bringing. And today, it seems so far, without jinxing, to be connecting.
Absolutely. You can see Tompenai do tend to struggle with some of the bases. And what am I thinking? I'm still thinking that first attack from Tompenai was a defense, even though we know that it was not. I really thought it was going to be a defense. That's how much I thought it was going to be a defense. So they are only 1 star behind, but they are behind. And it's interesting because I'm trying to think off the top of my head how many stars in total MCES have and how many Tompenai have. But the one war that sticks in my mind is when Burger Rangers held Tompenai to 10 stars, I think it was. That could have a major impact for them coming down to the end of it, because it might mean MCES have more stars if that's what it went down to.
Yeah, that 10 to 10 war plus Elevate definitely holding them back to 12 stars in their matchup could also play into that as well for MCES if they're able to power through and get those wins to tie it up. Now let's see, Mark coming in. We asked for it and he is almost giving it to us because we do have the Queen charge coming through, but I see the blimp and I see 3 invisibility spells. Let's see what he's got coming in. We've got the loons coming through to help with the pathing for the Queen here, actually. And he is going to make his way. So these 3 invisibility spells are really going to help out with the hero push.
Yeah, most likely for the Royal Champion. Obviously, he can use that to protect the Queen and the healers as well, but I'm very intrigued now. We have the 4 Expo around the Town Hall, which is going to be difficult no matter where he sends, which hero he sends into that area. He's already got the King setting up the pathing, and it is the Queen charging straight in as the wall breaker is beautiful. So he's got those spells in order to protect the Queen through the Town Hall with the beams on the healers, and obviously those Expos as well. This is a really dangerous area for Mark, but if anyone can deal with this in terms of a Queen charge, he is the man for the job.
And watch the Royal Champion coming in. The King has set up the funnel here, but the Royal Champ to help push this along further, taking on the scatter, though she's a little distracted by the pups. This does help the Queen get on course faster. As she takes this down, he can use an invisibility spell to get her out of this tough situation, ensure that it goes down if there are any issues. But this Queen is going the distance, dropping that rage to ensure that she stays alive and well. And look at that trigger tornado trap. Queen just out of the radius for the most part, though. It is launching her right through into the poison. The healers stay out, so she will be fine.
Look at that Royal Champion! She is still going, and she still has pretty much full health. The Barbarian King actually took down the enemy Queen so that the defending Royal Champion didn't have to deal with that. Headhunters take down the defending Royal Champion. So Mark's RC has walked around the entire base and even has the Grand Warden ability with her for all of the loons. This is devastating for Tompenai, as Mark knows they might be Queen Charge specialists, but he is showing them that they are not the only people in the world that can do this attack. He has torn their base from top to bottom, and a beautiful demonstration of what we like to see. And there is that Royal Champion finishing off as well. She survived the entire raid. She has put in some miles across that layout. Beautiful job by Mark. 3 stars it is.
This is the superb display of Queen charges that we're talking about, but it's not even that because the hero use was exceptional. You pointed out the King taking down the defending AQ, but that allowed so much value out of the Royal Champion. And think about the invisibility spells he had left over that he didn't even need them because of the protection he offered with that King. This was absolutely phenomenal, and I think it's lovely getting to see them in a less pressured situation, and I think this is where you can see how well this team actually does. I think they just crack slightly under pressure, and that's probably been their biggest issue in the challenges.
Well, they're certainly not backing down on this one. 3 stars. Tompenai must be scratching their heads thinking, how on earth are Elevate bottom of the table and out of this competition? We have React trying to rescue things, interestingly, with these Super Witches. Not an attack that we've seen too often. We've seen it from time to time, and I want to pick up on something you mentioned yesterday, Lady B, is that whenever we do see strategies like this, it tends to indicate that they have a clear plan that it's going to work on the base.
Yeah, definitely with a strategy that you don't see quite so often. And the one thing about the Super Witch is it's a fairly reliable strategy when you do use it, but it can result in these time fails. So I like that he's actually getting this moving forward very quickly. I like the use of the Electro Owl with a Warden. because this is one of those strategies that you have to ensure that your Warden doesn't take too much time in the funneling process. King also doing excellent work and has the opening to the Eagle compartment, which is going to continue a nice straight push forward. This base is perfect for it because he's got such easy access into the center. Not a lot to have to worry about. Jumps carry him through to all the heavy hitting damage points.
See the Super Witches just tanking all of that DPS. They are not going anywhere with the big boys out in front as well. The Town Hall does fall. I'm a little bit concerned about that single target Inferno, although he is probably just hoping that towards the back end of the base, he's got access in towards that area and can get it. As you see, the Super Witches still moving in. Royal Champion now from the top area of the base, and with the tanking of the King, she's actually getting a lot of value, and this looks very good. Time is ticking down, but he's still got a lot of cleanup troops yet to be deployed as well.
He definitely does, and we still, the Queen just getting knocked down by the single. That range just reaches right over the walls. It's up to the Royal Champion. He does have the invisibility spell, but if we see some skelly traps pop up, it is going to pose some problems for her because there are still quite a few defenses surrounding that single targeting Inferno. But he is hanging on as long as possible before dropping it. I don't know that I agree with this placement because I don't know that he's going to get, I guess he is going to get the full value with the Archer Tower there. The one thing standing for him is the witches working their way around with the big boys and opening in the wall, but there's not going to be enough time to reach those storages up top, even if they could clear the defenses.
Just a little bit unfortunate. You can see he has all of these Super Witches still alive. So that is one thing you always want to try and do, but obviously it looked like the Super Witches were going through the wall and then switched targets from, you know, looking at it. And maybe he was hoping that they were going to go through the wall, and that would have no doubt better protected the RC down to the bottom. A little bit unfortunate, but it does mean that now Tompenai 2 stars behind.
They are indeed. It looks like Elevate is getting a little bit of their revenge from the first Playday matchup that they had, if they can keep the momentum moving forward. And this would be a great match for them to be one of those matches to finish off the day with. Let's see what Eve Kartoffy is bringing. He's bringing exactly what I expected him to. We talked a little bit earlier about Elevate's superb work with the Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash. They do have a lot of versatility within air and ground, and this is one of the strategies that they do rely heavily on. Kartoffy, one of their big ground hitters, along with Eve Vision. And starts us off with the Warden Walk. Now, he does actually open up this compartment, the Warden, with access to pick up the multi-targeting Inferno. This is one of those compartments we want to take on because of the pathing. When we want to lead our walk, are working through, I'm sorry, it's the Queen. I think I need to get my glasses on for this one, but the wall break to open the Queen access here, and we want to take this down because the healers, when you navigate through, you do not want them getting picked off by that multi, which would be out of range over the walls for the Queen to reach.
Absolutely. So great job diving into that early on. Taking a little bit of time here. We're already 1 minute down, and we will probably see the Super P.E.K.K.A.s, calling it the Super P.E.K.K.A.s, but the Super P.E.K.K.A. attack strategy being deployed relatively soon as he's just setting things up here. Did lose one healer in that bottom area. Queen about to use that ability. She is clinging on to it by a tiny little bit, and now there it goes. Will she turn around and merge with the rest? She's not. She's going through the wall, and that might be the end of her. Decides to rage to try and protect her.
Healers are still alive and with her, but the problem is these P.E.K.K.A.s and the Super Wizards really do rely on a lot of power through, but the jump is going to connect everything together. If the Queen can step up and get some healer transfer over, using the ability early is not necessarily ideal, but he wants to continue as much power as possible. And amazingly, he's still getting it because of the Warden ability. This Tome helping out with the Queen dying down. We do have the healers there trying to keep this going, and I am impressed to see these Super Wizards still alive and well through to the back end of the raid.
Oh, I seen the giant bomb go off at the top. I was keeping an eye on that town hall, but the sneaky goblins did manage to get it. Look at all of the expos firing down onto the P.E.K.K.A. There is nothing they can do here. Just try and tank long enough for this royal champion, but there's still a lot of base left over here. He's got the ability and an invisibility spell, but I just can't see this happening now. There's just too much damage.
Oh, this is unfortunate because the Royal Champ's still alive here. We have the P.E.K.K.A.s who have the healers on them. That Warden Tower packs a nasty punch, we know, but the Royal Champion pops up, steps up to the plate, and has the invisibility spell to even try and get through some of the back end of this, but there's nowhere near enough time, regardless, that he would have the power with the P.E.K.K.A.s to try and get this done.
Trying to push the percentage up here to make sure they are not giving Tompenai an ounce of opportunity to catch back up. Already a couple of stars behind. And like I said, whilst this doesn't matter for Elevate as much, other than Pride as we mentioned, it does put Tompenai in a tricky spot because they don't have any more matches today.
They don't. This could lower them down the ranks a little bit, depending, as you mentioned, what we see between the tribe and particularly, I think it's the MCES matchup, that they would have more of the loss differential for. But Michael coming in and looking to see if they can find the small opening here. They were down by 2 stars. They get this opportunity to try and bring it back up, sends in the Yeti blimp to help pick off this compartment, does get the clan castler and does get everything within it that he needs to. Easy pick off for the AD, for this queen, so she can march her way along towards the town hall.
You could see the Tesla and the tornado just 2 tiles across from where he placed the blimp. That could have been a huge bait. Michael might have been in trouble if he hadn't have placed the blimp as north as he did. But thankfully, all is cleared and doesn't have to deal with the tornado trap. Knows the queen can take out these Tesla as well and just nicely move on down towards the bottom of the base. There's one of the Seeking Air Mines as well. And looking good so far. He's averted the bait that was set up by Elevate.
Ooh, nice wall break coming in, giving that queen full access, and she is right in the pocket to work her way along. Even one additional sneaky goblin if he wants to help out with these storages, though. I want to see where he's going to place the king, because he can also help set a deeper funnel for this king by using that. And the sneaky goblin coming in from the top side. Queen, though, continuing to work along. He knows she's safe and sound, so he can drop the king in, and this means the king's going to start forcing his way through into that AD compartment to help take not only that down, but the defending Royal Champion.
How does he concentrate on 3 different areas of the base at once? We got the king all the way to the left, the queen all of the way to the right, sends the dragon riders in from the top. Beautiful coordination here from Michael. Queen just about standing inside that poison. I'm sure he's not too happy about that, although he does still have the ability from the Archer Queen to use. Dragon Riders moving through, but the Barbarian King, whilst he got the Royal Champion, didn't get the air defense. Did a little bit of damage to the Dragon Riders, but they managed to get through that pretty quickly. Queen with the ability, Royal Champion with the ability, and this is the 3-star that Tompenai needed. They will only trail by 1 star, so it means moving down to the last attack. They are still in this to win the war.
Tompenai never lets up when the stars are down, and this is their way to fight back the way they did in the first war. But this means Elevate need to be on par. A little bit of a turnaround might do this in, though. We're coming back around for the storages. 14 seconds left, and he is going to be fine. Judo, I know you got worried there that you were going to jinx it a little bit too early, but he is able to turn it back around. And, you know, if Elevate can keep up the pressure, if they can pick up another 3-star, they're going to be situated very well. If they 2-star, I'd be a little bit worried about Tompenai trying to turn things back around. The 83% that came in from Team Elevate does not do them favors if we see another 2-star coming in.
Absolutely, because there's basically a percentage point in it right now. So Elevate they really need to put up the 3-star or the extremely high percentage 2-star to try and fend Tompenai off here. I do want to briefly give the spotter a quick shout out on that last attack. You notice the Tesla right at the top. He froze it and used a cleanup wizard to take out that Tesla. Beautiful job to make sure he didn't fail the attack. But now moving down to the end of it, like we said, super close, and Elevate might have put up all the 3 stars they wanted. They could still lose this.
They could indeed. Let's see what they have to bring to the table now to try and keep hope alive. We've seen Kala, we've seen Mark, we've seen Kartafi, but we have not seen Muda come up to bat. Let's see if he'll be up next and what he'd be bringing. Ooh, it is Vision, who we also talked about, who brings in this very powerful Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash strategy. Kartafi and Vision, of course, being the 2 main ground hitters for Elevate. And we do get to see the Warden leading the path for this one, starting to shape up the funnel. And he's just going to clear the path for the blimp to sail through into the Town Hall compartment as he starts leading his passage up into the scatter shot at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, the Warden able to quickly take apart the buildings on that side of the base, and we will see him merge in with the Super P.E.K.K.A. That's why I always love to see the Warden walk. I know you mentioned the greater range that he has a lot, Lady B, but I know he's just, for me, so reliable as well in order to pull him down to the rest of your troops. Not walking sometimes can be difficult with the Archer Queen. We see the wall break now opening up that compartment to the top. 1 minute used for that Grand Warden walk. There he goes, following the P.E.K.K.A. and the King nicely on the outside of the base with a couple of witches to help keep the P.E.K.K.A. on track moving through.
Yeah, the great thing about bringing in these witches is as the King does the tanking, the witches are able to reach right over the walls that the King can't, keeping that momentum moving forward. This is such a clean path and funnel. He's created a little bit of resistance from the air sweeper, but that ice golem actually freezes over at a perfect time to allow the access in. It's hanging on by a thread, but the sneaky goblins finally get it taken down, and he continues through the center of the base with a beautiful transfer over of the healers onto the P.E.K.K.A.s.
Doing a nice job here. I love to see the electricity from these super wizards just chaining through the middle of the base. And I'm trying to recognize where the P.E.K.K.A. are. Have they all gone down here? There's so much going on in the middle. They are gone.
Yeah,
There's
I think as I said that, they just went absolutely kaput with all the damage firing away. But the Queen survives, just burns through that ability. We just don't have an ability for the back end with the scatter, but 1 invisibility spell here to try and keep the Queen and the Royal Champion through it. Queen gets the invisibility spell, but the healers aren't going to survive to keep her alive. At very least, the scatter goes down, but this leaves the big opening that Tompenai was hoping for now to get a defense. This Warden cannot do it alone.
Well, Tompenai still need the 3-star, but it does mean that Elevate are not safe, because if they had have got the 99% 2-star, I know it's a big ask, but if they had have got that high percentage, then Tompenai still wouldn't have been able to catch up with that 3-star. Like you said, the door is now open. It is in the hands of Tompenai. All Vision can do can stare at the screen as the 86% 2-star is confirmed. It comes down to the final attack.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Tompenai has. They have to have, I would say, ice in their veins right now to pull this back around, but they've done it before. And I believe we'll have Kreeson coming in for the final attack. That does put a lot of pressure on him to get this win, but there's also a little bit of discomfort for them knowing that they're pretty much secured where they are in the rankings at this point because of their superb work throughout the series. So even if they are to take a loss in this match, it doesn't necessarily knock them out of it.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. All of these teams just want to qualify. Whilst it's nice to be in the first seed, as long as you get to that final stage, then you're there. It just matters how you perform in the finals. So Tompenai aren't going to be too dissatisfied here, but as you mentioned, it is Kreeson, and it's the Queen Charge Lava Loon. We know how good Tompenai is with this. Can he get the 3 stars for the victory?
We'll have to wait and see as the King sets up the funnel for the Queen here, doing a lot of great tanking. Queen has access in, and I like that he is delaying these healers, waiting to get a better placement for them, ensuring that they don't get picked off by the Archer Tower, that he can get these Coco Loons in place. And the patience does pay off often in these cases. That Loon doing some great work. We've got easy access for the Queen to take on the scatter. And the most beautiful thing about this is she can take down the Hound with absolutely 0 defenses on her. So going straight into this full health.
Beautiful work here as he's just being able to set the funnel either side really efficiently. Still has a bunch of spells that he can commit to the Archer Queen. There is the jump. So he's aiming for the Town Hall and to push the Queen down into that lower compartment after she's taken out that central multi. The invisibility was perfect to preserve her ability. I don't know how he got that down in time. It was literally by the millisecond.
But he got it done, and I love this jump placement because it does keep the Queen focusing towards the Town Hall, doesn't force her into the center of the base, keeps her on track. The Royal Champ looking to keep the pathing alive. And while this is going on, he continues to send in his Lalo, knowing that the Queen was secure enough to take down the Town Hall. Warden ability coming off early here. Can the Queen take on the defending RC? Ooh, it is just enough. And this means the Loons have an easy push with a back-end Stone Slammer to do the remainder of the tanking here. I mean, this acts basically as an additional Hound, you've pointed out, with the massive tank value it does offer.
Having the Stone Slammer for the back end is huge, because at this point, even if his core balloons went down in the middle, it's done. He has got the job done. The Stone Slammer could cruise through the rest of this. He's got 2 balloons just waiting for the defenses to go down so he can deploy them, no doubt, down at 6 o'clock to help with cleanup. And look at the minions moving across as well. Croissant has done it. Tompenai got off to a shaky start, but they have managed to turn this war around. That is something that is not easy to do. It's easier to continue the winning streak going, but to come back from 2 stars behind and get the victory is incredible. GG to Tompenai. A fantastic fight from Elevate, but that means Tompenai have indeed pretty much secured their 2nd placed seed into the finals. I believe, is it Tribe could still catch them? I think Tribe with the 2 matches could, but it would then come down to total stars.
Yeah, and I think that's where we need to see where they would be in total stars. Tompenai could be a little bit lower, as you pointed out earlier, the 10-star matchup. But what we really need to focus on coming up next is a big determining match where Tribe is going to be looking to keep themselves up in tow, but Penta could make a big upset. So stay tuned for Tribe versus Penta after this break.
What do you feel like your strongest attributes are as a team?
I think that our team spirit is very good. So even if things are getting hectic or if we're under a lot of pressure, we're able to keep relaxed and to, calm each other down and comfort each other kind of, and give each other a good feeling, even the last attacker, even if there's a lot of pressure. So I think that we always, encourage the others in the team rather than, pulling them down with saying something. So that's something really important. And then I think that our offense has been very, very strong in the past couple of weeks. I think only a couple of teams in the world have been better than us, and we really hope that we can stay on this track, keep the stars high, and as I said before, then it will be very tough for every single opponent to score more stars.
Now, I've asked this question to alternate attacks already in terms of consistency. I kind of feel like you two in terms of like how you play against other teams or the stars, or how you do in terms of attack and defenses in the wars. You've got a very high level of consistency across the board, and I just want to know how you manage to keep that, because on Clash of Clans it's very difficult to keep that high level of consistency, you know, being able to change your base builds, your attacks, and how you approach a lot of these bases as well. There's a lot of little bits and pieces which, you know, creates a lot of havoc sometimes and can cause a lot of discussion and thought process in terms of what you want to do in terms of strategies. So how do you actually keep that high level of consistency across the board in the ESL Mobile Challenge?
I'm very happy to hear that we are considered one of the teams with high consistency, because this has been something that we've been working on all year long. When the season started and we formed a new team in January, we were struggling a little bit in getting that consistency, but I really feel like this past half year we have improved a lot as a team and also individually, and that is why, as you said, in the past couple of weeks we have shown a good consistency, and I hope that we will keep being consistent, especially in our offense. And if that's the case, then I think we have a very good shot at getting far in this competition.
ESL Mobile Challenge is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the ESL Mobile Challenge. I'm Lethal, joined with me this time round it is Judo, and things are starting to spice up a little bit here. We do have Penta versus Tribe. We talked about the storylines right at the very beginning of the show leading up to this moment. Penta need to win their next two matches today, and this is going to be a start for them as they're playing against one of the teams who are, you know, contesting for the top four here, depending on the circumstances later on in Tribe. But Tribe looking very good so far.
They are indeed, and actually, Penta are only playing once today. It's Repotted, I think you're getting mixed up with, that are playing the twice. And Penta, basically, this is their chance. If they win this match, they go level with MCES, and if MCES lose, Penta could still get this, depending on if they have more stars in total than MCES. But Tribe Gaming could still get to the second place. They can still catch Tompenai if Tribe beat Penta here and Repotted later today, because Tribe have actually beaten Tompenai twice in the challenge. So if it came to the point where Tribe and Tompenai were level on total wins, Tribe would take the second seed because they have beat them.
That's right. Tribe have been, best word for probably the kryptonite to Tompenai so far from what we've noticed over the last few weeks against Tompenai. And this is still very big for Penta. So if Tribe, like you said, they win this, then it's going to give them a huge boost to be able to get a much better seed. It's all about the top 2 seeds there. Do everything you can to try and avoid any first round engagement with alternate attacks. The last thing you want here, really, going into it in the ESL Mobile Challenge Finals, which starting in just over a week away. But Penta still need to try and look for that qualification spot. And like we said before, they need to beat Tribe, and also they need to see what happens against MCES later on against alternate attacks. So, the fate's not fully in their hands, but this will definitely help them, give them a boost, like I've already mentioned earlier on. So, if there's any Penta out fans, they're definitely going to need your energy coming into this next matchup, because even though this is their final match, I mean, you can't really do much else apart from just hope for the best towards the very end. Fingers crossed they'll be able to do what they can in order to give them as much leadway as possible. But Penta, though, we'll have to see. But in terms of your prediction, though, Judo, how do you think this one will possibly shape up?
You know what? I know that Penta need to win this one in order to qualify, and we've seen them come out very explosively into some matches. But I think Tribe's performance yesterday was very impressive. They, had that shaky start with Eve Maxi's attack, and then they went flawless after that, getting the 14-star victory. And I think they were so good yesterday that I think Tribe will get this. But how about yourself?
Do you know what? If I didn't watch yesterday, I may have agreed, but I'm not sure, because Penta put up some really, really good base builds. A lot of people were struggling to actually freestart a lot of their bases, but there's a bit of a catch here now. It's the fact that, will they use the same bases? Will some of them be the same, some not? And if so, how much research have Tribe done into looking at what bases Penta actually put on the plate for the rest of the team to try and attack? So I think it really does depend on what base builds they bring here to the table, and if Tribe can basically do anything about it. Because I must say, the base builds from Penta were extremely solid, but then again, like you said, Tribe have been very impressive with their attacks overall. But I do feel like there's a lot more pressure for Penta in this one. I feel like maybe Tribe may edge it out by the smallest of margins, but it all depends on what type of bases Penta brought out this time around in comparison to yesterday. Because like I said before, I was very impressed with how they brought them out yesterday, and not something I particularly inspected or expected in any way in this final week. But we'll see what they can do here in this first matchup. And speaking of the devil, it will be Maxi to start things off for Tribe here in this first attack.
He will be so focused to not make the same mistakes as yesterday. You can see that extensive funnel to the left-hand side of the Queen. He does not want her walking in the wrong direction as she did yesterday, making sure that he can fix the mistakes and just pick his confidence back up. Maxi has a ton of experience as a player. He's been competing at this high level for a number of years now, and I'm sure he has this attack very well planned out with the Queen already charging into the bottom. There's nowhere else for her to go other than up towards the enemy Queen, but he still has a wall break. So it's interesting to see whether he's just jumping the Queen here, which is what I think, and then wall breaking the King, or whether he's going to... Oh, he's used the wall break there for the Queen to get to the multi first and probably jump her from this other compartment. Beautiful stuff.
What's even better is the Eagle Artillery is actually prioritizing the Queen over the King, which means that it's not going to matter too much. There isn't enough DPS to swing the favor towards GK Tim. So it's doing him a massive favor here. And the King, it also means for the King, it can go to that northern side and continue to take out the structures, additional amount of structures because of that Eagle Artillery. But it's actually switched over to the King now. So eventually he will get taken down. The ability's already been popped, and that's going to be it for the King to create any more paving on that northern side. And you can see the blimp again coming in from the 8 o'clock position, going straight towards that town hill. We'll have to deal with a fair amount because not a huge amount has been cleared. Also, don't forget those Dragon Riders has come up directly from behind with those loons taking out that Inferno Tower in the center.
Very confident with his Queen's pathing here as he pops the Battle Blimp in the center for the multi-target Inferno. We have mentioned, we've seen that a lot from Tribe. All of the healers go down, but Maxi has charged the Queen with such great success that he still has the ability for the Town Hall. Down it falls, and with the Royal Champion now moving in, a freeze spell in the pocket. It looks very good here for Tribe starting off. A much better attack than we seen yesterday from Eve Maxi. And there we have it. There are a bunch of storages. It's all whether he can get through them quick enough, as there's only 17 seconds.
Yeah, there's a couple of drills there. That storage is going to be the big one, but look at that, 10 seconds left. Most of it's already been taken now. Still going to be quite close nonetheless, but I'm pretty confident that this is going to be A-OK, as will be the first triple for Tribe Gaming. And yeah, it was a little bit close here and there. Get the Queen, and I've got a lot of value out of her going towards, not the center, but towards that 6 to 3 o'clock compartments. Completely cleared it using that jump spell as well. So great stuff there for Maxi. Textbook stuff, shall we say.
Beautiful indeed. Putting the pressure onto Penta, because we've already established Penta basically need to win this one. But it's still a big war for Tribe. We mentioned that if they win both of their wars, they would actually leapfrog Tompenai and move to second. But to be honest with you, the second and third place seed do not matter too much, because they will play each other in the bracket within the finals anyway. It's really about dodging the fourth placed seed so that you don't have to face alternate attacks in that first round.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants a part of that, and I'm pretty sure all three of those teams are going to be avoiding that like the plague, so I don't blame them in the slightest, as they're going to do everything they can to make sure that does not happen. And alternate attacks could solidify that later on if they do beat MCES, but that's for a match to talk about later on. That'll be the fourth match of the evening, just focusing on this south side. Now, there's Ice Golems, it's going to delay that Queen, but once she's dealt with those Ice Golems, she will be dealing with the AD and the Archer Tower in that southern compartment there. But yeah, just going back to it, of course, you know, with alternate attacks, with their reputation and their wealth of knowledge in this game and in the tournament scene, it's one of the very, very few teams you just want to completely try and avoid. You know, a lot of people may say, well, you know, you've got to beat everyone no matter what at some point in the tournament, but this is a little bit different. Not only is it going to be single elimination, it's going to be very, very tough for, you know, for anyone to take down alternate attacks, and it could, you know, change you from either getting top 4 or guaranteeing yourself top 2. There's a lot of talk about there in that kind of circumstance, which is why people want to try and, you know, get that dodge going and make sure they can't try and get that second or third seed. But so far the funnel's been created for the Queen, just pushing on towards the western side, now just taking out more from the western side and that next compartment as well, and giving a little bit of leadway here towards that town hall.
It's interesting to see Zakir using the hybrid again today. We've seen him using this yesterday, and it didn't come up with the greatest success. I think the Archer Queen, if I recall, I was watching the match, you cast it with Lady B. I think I remember the Archer Queen missed the Town Hall and he had to use the King in order to get that. However, the Archer Queen does get the Town Hall today, so he can use the King with pathing. Let's find out if that does give him a better shot here. King diving into the base towards the Eagle is beautiful because it keeps the miners moving into the center alongside the Hog Riders. The Warden ability will help them through the Eagle artillery shots. He only has freeze spells for this back end though, so he has to use them wisely. Doesn't have a heal for the troops.
Look at that Tesla farm as well. Perfect placement with those spells, using that to just delay that DPS to give him a bit more of a carving here in terms of his pathway he wants to take going into that compartment. And the good thing was keeping that Queen alive earlier on. He was so close, knocking on death's door, but just making sure to get the full value out of her to push into the center was a huge play here from Zakia. And still the RC is still alive, and so is the Warden, looking very good so far. Only a couple of bits now to finish up, just that last Wizard Tower, and apart from that, it's going to be cleanup duty from here on end, as you can see with the mortar on that bottom left side as well. But that's going to be taken very quickly. Just the last bits here to do with that triple for Penta, and this is the perfect start for them to keep the pressure onto Tribe Gaming.
Certainly is, and I guess it technically means that Penta are in the lead with a faster attack, but they do need to keep that pressure going. Like you rightly said, Tribe have got a little bit less pressure on them because they are, well, they've got that match later today, so they're pretty much qualified, shall we say. There's only Penta that could change that if they indeed lose this matchup. So Tribe don't have as much to lose on this one. Penta will have that pressure. Is that going to be too much for them? Let's find out as we have knowledge. Moving in with the Hydra, the Dragons and the Dragon Riders does have 4 lightning spells, interestingly. Maybe he's actually going to lightning both sweepers here. We'll have to wait and see, as we've already got the heroes diving in towards the top area to take that eagle. There we go, lightning onto both sweepers. Very nice, in order to make sure he can path right of the way through towards that town hall.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how his next plan of action is going to pan out from knowledge, as that Queen and King still continuing to do absolute work in that northern compartment, popping his ability. And so far, so good in terms of prioritization. Is going towards that Monte Inferno, the Expo, the Archer Tower as well, and still doing a huge amount of damage, doing a great job keeping him alive as well. The King's still got a little bit more time left, but it looks like those drags, those loons, the Dragon Riders as well, just going to be making that final, well, I could say that first push until the final attack towards the very end on that western side. And we're going to find out when that, of course, the blimp's going to come out momentarily, but so far the spells will be coming in, just trying to speed up the process with these drags in that compartment due to the fact that there's a huge amount there, including the AD and that scatter shot with the blimp now just heading towards the south side to try and take out that town hall as well. Looking good so far, but the Monte Inferno still doing a huge amount of damage onto these drags to try and get their ASAP, and with that spell once again be able to speed things up just a tad to make sure they don't take any more DPS from Epi of Penta. But the good thing is, though, that town hall has been taken down, and so is the AD down the south side, and will be greeted by that Tesla farm as well.
It does certainly look good for knowledge, I would say. I mean, it's questionable. Those Dragon Riders do need to get across and get the Expo down prior to the Royal Champion getting in that region. That is what he needs in order to get this one done. But I do question the 2 lightning spells to the Air Sweeper on the right-hand side, because whilst it might have hit the dragons a little bit in the center, that could have been an extra 2 invisibility spells for the Royal Champion, or an extra 2 freeze spells. She's gone down, and it looks like the Dragon Riders are also going to fall short here as well. So it is a slip up from Tribe Gaming, and it is exactly what Penta needed to keep themselves and their hopes alive in this competition.
I can tell you what, the Penta lads are definitely going to be rubbing their hands at this one, knowing that they've been able to be quite successful here with their defense. But this is what I said to you earlier on, Judo, is the fact that yesterday what you said was absolutely true with how Tribe performed, but I must say Penta's base builds have been phenomenal, to say the least. And you know, I've said some great things about them before, and it looks like the process could continue here. A lot of players just struggling to 3-star some of Penta's bases. I can't remember from the top of my head if these layouts in terms of these base builds are some are the same or some a little bit different compared to yesterday. But then again, they're still working, which is the main priority here. And it looks like Penta are going to continue with that path, hoping that their defenses are strong enough to hold Tribe back.
Absolutely, and I know MCES will have their eyes on this war as well. They will be shaking their heads knowing that Penta is the only team that can catch them. And if Tribe beat Penta, then at least, I mean, they've had a little bit of a let-off, because Tribe, they did take MCES down yesterday, and, well, maybe they can do them a favor here. But Penta with GK Tim, I'm not going to talk too much about his army composition based on what happened last week, but we know how good he is, and he's got the lightning spells. Let's just see where he decides to use them. 7 lightning spells does tend to indicate around near the enemy queen. Actually, he's moving into the center, and he's just using 5 around the multi-target Inferno and the Sweeper in the middle of the base.
I like that. That was a nice little cleanup there. That one then was hoping to take out that one Archer Tower, but it looks like with the Tesla saying hello or popping to say a quick hello in that 7 compartment, not going to happen, but it doesn't matter. It had a little bit more investment, but it's definitely not going to change the tide of things anyway. And also just using that to see where the loon's going to go in that next compartment. Hasn't really found any more traps there. The baby dragon there on the south side, of course, just trying to help create that funnel later on. You want to see a few more of them coming in from the 3 to 6 o'clock side, now coming out to play. And this is going to be quite aggressive attack here from GK Tim. He loves his drag, especially his drag riders, like you've already mentioned here, Judo. And look at that, though. With the Eagle Artillery there, let's try and see how much damage it's going to be able to do. But the blimps now come in. But remember, the loon came from a slightly different path. So we'll see if the blimp does managed to be quite successful going into this compartment of the town hall. Looks like it's going to be perfectly fine here, and hopefully the rest of the attack on the eastern and northern front should be okay.
Tornado trap in that area, and we can expect more traps once the troops come out of the balloon. So he does indeed freeze that area just to make sure he takes it down. Still got a lot of dragons and dragon riders moving through the base with the queen ability intact, royal champion ability, and well, the royal champion not even used yet. Actually, I just looked down at the icon, and obviously the royal champion icon not flashing, so that indicates he has not even used it yet. There she comes from the left side of the base, and this looks good for Penta to be taking an early lead in this war.
It's making it look easy, isn't he? Absolutely. Great way for GK Team to continue the triples here for Penta. I know it's only been a couple, but it feels like a lot more than that considering how great their attacks have been so far. The RC just taking out the last parts of the defense, but I must say in perfect time too, just nowhere near a time fail. Basically the same as the first attack earlier on as well. We haven't seen the likes of Muffin or anyone else like that yet for Penta. So this is shaping up very, very well indeed, and Tribe need to try and find an answer here to try and, put a stop to the fuel in the tank here, just due to the fact that Penta looking very strong from the get-go, and it means a lot to it here, even considering the fact that even at the very beginning you see Tribe and their second attack 84%. That could be a huge detriment here as a percentile going forward, but I'm a little bit worried for Tribe. Like I mentioned before, the defenses from Penta have been very, very strong leading up to this moment, but can Tribe be able to improvise enough to figure out a way to come back in this war?
Absolutely, and let's remember, we keep talking about Penta catching MCES up because MCES only have the one matchup and Tribe have two, but if Tribe lose both of their matches, they could end up not qualifying altogether, and it might be Penta catching them up, so they are still not safe. They do need to knock it up a gear here, like you said, and be able to switch things around. But it was a lower percentage than what we've been seeing on the average. So even if they do get a slip up from Penta, they've got to be able to capitalize on that and hope that it's a big enough slip up that they could catch on percent.
Yeah, the potential of a three-way tie for the last two remaining spots here is still the talk of the town here. And normally when it goes to the tiebreaker, the first bit of it is the head-to-head matchup results. But once Penta, possibly win this, MCES, Tribe, and Penta have all actually got a tie because they've all beaten each other and lost to each other once, which means it will go towards the stars they've accumulated. This is why it's going to be so big for Penta here, not just to get this win in order to help them in the standings, but of course to tie up the head-to-head matchup with Tribe as well. Depending on how Tribe do later on, of course, on top of that. So we can see what's going to happen now. The town hall does get taken down, so that was a successful approach with that blimp, and just trying to see what else they can find in between, using that loon as well, just pushing on up there. But Kronos, needs to bring this back, but it's a very, very important matchup. They know that they can bring this back by any means here against Zakia's base. But like I said, Pentas have had a good defense over the last couple of days, or last couple of play days, shall we say, and we're going to see if that will continue here in this next attack.
A little bit misplaced, I would say, on the poison, because he had to spend a lot of time taking down the clan castle troops there so that they would not distract the dragons, which are now moving in from the bottom area of the base. How costly will that time investment be? He kind of had to do it after the mishap, but is it going to be too much, as he's got the heroes trying to get into that bottom area to force the dragons to the middle? Is it quick enough? He's used the king ability to try and force him forward, but the dragons are getting caught over there. He needs them into the middle. They have indeed redirected. Is it too little too late though? I don't think so, because they finally made it through that middle section. It's all about if he has enough time to finish off the base. Dragons are now caught on the outside, but he's got 2 freeze, the invisibility, and a bunch of hero abilities. So I think he's got enough to get through the base, but only 1 minute left, Lethal.
Yeah, the RC came out just in the nick of time to make a start on that Tesla farm on the 10 o'clock side, now going up north with the Queen as well. But 50 seconds left, there's only, still got a fair amount to take out in terms of the scatter shot, the cannon, the expo there as well. But it looks like it's going to be fine, as long as there's nothing else laying about. Even if there was, I think there's going to be way too much time left on the clock to get this triple. So they're going to be perfectly fine here, considering what they were going through right at the very beginning. But RC is going to be fine. He's going to be on cleanup duty with the rest of the pack here. And that's going to be a great attack there from Kronos. But I could see what you mean. It was a little bit skeptical there. Lucky the Queen was able to take out that left compartment quick enough in order to stop the drags from actually moving away from the sensor, just so they can actually continue with the amount of DPS it needs to bring forward towards that Inferno Tower and that Tesla farm as well. But no, great stuff again from Tribe to bring that 1 triple back to pile on a little bit more pressure onto Penta.
Certainly is difficult when you have the DPS, and if you can keep the troops alive, you can be surprised at how quick the base can go down. But as your troops start falling, it does indeed get to a sketchy situation towards the end. I think that looked like a super dragon. He had 5 of them, I think, on top of each other. It looked like the dragon had 5 heads moving down to the end of the base. So I don't think Penta had much of an opportunity defending that one. Epi, though, looking to continue their perfection as he moves in with the Yeti Blimp, just taking out that scatter shot and setting up pathing for his Queen charge. 2 super wall breakers, but no jump spells. Now, my presumption here is that he's trying to charge to the Town Hall and probably even break to that most central multi-target Inferno. That would set up pathing beautifully, actually, for his Dragon Riders, but that is it's a tough wall break, to be honest, Lethal.
Yeah, he's got quite a few rage spells there as well. Does have a poison spell if he gets into a little bit of trouble, but apart from that, we'll see how this Queen gets on. Does make it into the Town Hall compartment. Just taking out that Expo first, and that sweeper will definitely don't need to worry about at all, because there's enough DPS in that compartment to keep the healers back enough for that Queen to get taken down. So he's going to be okay so far. Is he going to continue now to get delayed, but it's not going to delay the inevitable here. The race, but will come out now just to take down that Town Hall just a little bit quicker, just in case, but it's to take a lot more damage going further, because you've got to remember, still got to deal with that Inferno Tower just behind it. Anything else, there's a sweeper, would be a bit of a nuisance, but not a huge amount. But a Lava Hound has come out and will be delaying the Queen once again, but at the same time the King has found a couple of those Teslas on the 9 o'clock side and will try and make work of them.
I wonder if he's actually going to break the King into the Ego. That looks like the better play from how he shaped it up with the Dragon Riders on the left-hand side, because they can easily snipe that multi-target Inferno. It's obviously a much safer wall break for him as well. The Dragon Riders getting caught up early on here. A beautiful Warden ability protects them through a bunch of Seeking Air Mines, though. They move on into the multi, but he still has not used that wall break. It's puzzling me a little bit as to what the plan is. I don't think it matters, to be honest, Lethal, because the Dragon Riders have tore the inside of this base, and moving down to it, he's still got the Royal Champion ability. He can use that wall breaker for cleanup, I guess. He doesn't even need it at this stage. A beautiful job by Epi, and it is going to mean that Tribe Gaming still on the back pedal. They need to defend Penta. They don't even need to 3-star because they're doing that. They need to be able to fight Penta off, but clinging on to this competition, wanting to qualify. This is their final match, so they need to win it, and they are doing everything. 3-4-3 now for Penta.
Epi pretty much pulled that base inside out, wasn't it? Considering what we saw, what was left, and with those Dragon Riders afterwards, that was brilliant. And do you know what the funny thing is? Even the last 3 attacks from Penta, yeah, they've been triples, don't get me wrong, but nowhere near a time fail. The closest it's been is about 25-30 seconds, and that was the last attack. Apart from that, though, they've been very, very smooth, and it's been smooth sailing throughout across the board, which I'm a little bit surprised about, because Tribe have built up a very good reputation for themselves, taking down Tompenai the 2 times earlier on in the previous play days. And it's just funny that they're still just struggling against some of the other teams. And this is one team here, Gino, you do not want to struggle against, considering it could cost you your spot later on. We know it's quite unlikely because they've actually got 2 opportunities here to qualify, not just 1. So it depends really, apart from MCES, where they've got 1 opportunity, and it is against the like of alternate attacks coming up later in that 4th matchup, which they don't want. And they could actually play them again in the ESL Mobile Challenge finals if they do manage to bag that 4th seed. But Exorcist is going to do his absolute best to put a stop to this. If you guys are just joining us, it's been 3 attacks apiece from both Tribe and Penta. Penta currently up by 1 star. Bit of a blip there for one of the players from Tribe earlier on in their 2nd attack, but that's definitely not going to stop them from continuing to keep this as close and competitive as possible, as already the Queen just making her way, as well as the King, into that northeast compartment.
very wise move using the skeleton spell there, dropping it inside the dead zone of the scatter just to tank the heroes that were standing behind that, because he's basically just dove his king and queen in. Meant that he can take down the enemy heroes early on, which is going to mean the Hydra is not really going to get pulled off course. Whilst the dragons, the regular dragons, can take down the heroes, it can mess their pathing quite a lot. So he's been able to create this beautiful U shape around the base with the lightning spells in the center. Now the hero dive, it's just pathing everything through. Obviously, risking it all here. He's got the Royal Champion, but not a lot for the Town Hall in terms of a backup plan. Mind, I have to say, Lethal, he has a straight path to it, so there's not really a lot that could go wrong in terms of needing that super plan B. Dragon should be able to cruise right to it.
And look at the position of that rage spell as well. Literally, the bulk of that army was in there and it was perfectly placed too. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is the couple of ADs in the backline, as well as that scatter shot and heading towards that Town Hall, depending on what traps are left. And there's that Tesla farm on the left side, just, you know, a sprinkle of damage here and there, which could definitely add up later on. But with that rage spell, and all the units are literally in that one spell as well, you can't complain here, Judo, considering what he's been putting himself through. Exorcist just trying to make sure that Triumph Gaming are going to be staying in this matchup, keeping it as close as possible. And look, there's literally barely anything left. The RC don't even need it at this point, but he's going to be coming in to take out those Teslas as well. And that is going to be another 3-star for Triumph Gaming, just letting them know that it's not going to be an easy war right till the very end, and it is going to come into that final attack. And great stuff from Exorcist, I must say. Very clean, great use of the spells, good positioning as well, and well thought out overall, and in terms of good way to try and execute that attack. All round good stuff from Exorcist.
Beautiful job. I mean, Tribe need to keep themselves in this war on, you know, the chance that Penta do slip up. They can take the victory and they know that they're safe at that stage. But even if not, and they lose this, they still have that extra game we keep talking about. So they want to make sure they are going up against Repotted at the end of the day with full confidence that they can get that victory and secure their spot. It's not going to be taken out of their hands. But you did mention we might get down to this kind of triple tie, which is super interesting because it does go down to who beat who. They've all beat each other. Then goes down to total match wins, total stars, total destruction, then most 3-star. There's too many calculations for us to keep on track of. I'm super interested to see if it does go down to that, what exactly would happen. But in order for that to happen, Penta need to keep the 3 stars moving in. Hocus Pocus now with the early stab to the Town Hall with the Battle Blimp, and he's got the invisibility nicely used alongside the Rage spell. Needs to make sure that nothing goes wrong at this early stage. Town Hall falls, Super Wizards continue to chain through, and so far so good.
Do you know what? If it does come to the destruction percentage on the most 3-star attacks, I'm sure the lovely people at ESL are going to look forward to trying to work that out later on for us, I'm sure. As you can see, now the attack for the Drags and the Lose now coming in from that 10 o'clock side, making a push towards some of the areas here to take up some of the defenses. But you can see from down below that Baby Dragon just taking out a few bits as well, the outer structures here, just to avoid that time fail later on. But here come the Drags and the Drag Riders as well, as the Warden just making a push into that northern side. One of the main priorities being that scatter shot and then going for the Inferno Tower straight afterwards, using that Rage spell once again just to speed these Drags up a little bit, give them a bit of a kick in the backside just to push a little bit faster. The Eagle Artillery is actually focusing on the Drags on that northern side, which, you know, not going to be too pleased about it, but it's going to be okay so far. It's just going to be pretty much tickling them at this point, and using that free spell as well just to stop any more DPS coming from Exorcist's defenses. But you can see there's a couple of expos to deal with still. We'll find a Tesla farm as well, the AD as well on that southern side. And you can see as well, there's not really too much in his back pocket here. When he gets out the RC, that's going to be fine. That's going to play a big part here to make sure he doesn't lose any more than he already has done, because he's already taken a fair amount so far, Judo.
That defending Archer Queen in the center of the base has been devastating. The Electro Owl, cannot finish it off. So the Archer Queen stands. It took down everything in the center. He's still got a freeze spell, but the RC going down in health quickly. And I don't think he's going to get this one. It's going to be close. It's going to be a higher percentage than what Tribe Gaming got earlier. So Penta will still be in the lead in terms of percentage. But if it did come down to that triple tie, Penta trying to put as many stars on the board as they can. This war alone, even if they win, might not qualify them. It might not be enough. They have to take it one step at a time. It is the first slip up, and it means that Tribe Gaming, whilst they still trail, could now get this if they 3-star the next one and hold Penta off.
What a story, though. Let's go to the final attack. I was just about to say, I think it was about 84-85% for the second attack, but thanks to the studio, of course, just give us a little bit of a reminder of how things will pan out for the final attack. So you can see there they are up by 8%. That's literally all you guys need to know so far. The stars are exactly the same in terms of what's going to pan out in this final attack, but who's going to be able to take it? If they both get the triple, Penta, of course, are going to go through. If not, then Tribe need to try and win by at least 8% or more to be able to try and secure that victory. But Penta will have to see what they get up to. They're actually going to be the final team attacking. So if Tribe get this 3-star, whoever's it going to be, it's going to be a lot of pressure on them.
It certainly is, but you have to question now, Penta have looked so dominant this war. But is that now a little momentum shift to Tribe, with Tribe getting such an amazing 3-star and Penta obviously not getting it? Is that the momentum shift Tribe needed to take the victory here? It all comes down to these final attacks. It is Nebrax with the Inferno Dragons and Dragon Riders. We've seen this yesterday from him as well. Lightning Spell will be used for one of the sweeper, most likely one in front of the town hall, maybe? It's difficult to say. I guess we'll wait and see. There it is. One in front of the town hall goes down. Just a couple of loons to try and take out that cannon. Needs to use another one due to the air traps being in that area, but he won't be too dissatisfied with that, to be honest. Alleviates a few of them for the dragons when they do move in. And there we see the skeleton spells as well to tank this area. Uses a third because there's so many Tesla pop that have high DPS, and he needs this area down to help with the pathing for his Inferno Dragons.
Yeah, when he saw that Tesla farm, he was like, okay, I've got a little bit more work to do here. And this is a very aggressive attack once again. As you said before, Nebrax, one of very, very few players here in the ESL Mobile Challenge, still rocking the Inferno Dragons, and we don't see it quite a lot, still lurking in the shadows a little bit in terms of that composition being used on some of these attacks, but it's nice to see someone's giving him some love, as already he's been doing a very good job of them as well, as the Warden's going to be giving a little bit of a helping hand with those Inferno Dragons and the 2 Dragon Riders in the front line. The Queen is still alive though. We'll be keeping an eye on her on that 9 o'clock compartment, having to deal with that scanner shot, trying to break through that wall, as there's any wall breakers there, and probably will get taken down eventually. And now the Blimp will be heading towards that Town Hall. We'll be able to get in. We'll use that Rage spell as well to try and guarantee that Town Hall has been taken down. But look at this, though. Look what's left. It's still got quite a fair amount here, Judah. Still got the Inferno Town, the Expo. Still got the AD on the south side. And the AD on the 3 o'clock side as well. I'm not too sure about this.
I was looking at that Queen so much, thinking exactly what you thought. If he had a wall breaker, he could have got the Queen to the scatter and the air defense, but he indeed did. She took that down, and with the Royal Champion ability, it doesn't matter that the dragons have gone down. He is going to clean up the defenses here, and he has 1 minute for the Royal Champion to pretty much solo the base. The Grand Warden will unfortunately follow the Royal Champion, but she does have Lassie, her pet, alongside her. Let's just try and count the buildings here, Lethal. Make sure there's none hiding up to the north of the screen, but I doubt it. I don't want to jinx anything. There we are. Thank you so much for the quick zoom out. 45 seconds remaining. The Royal Champion is pretty quick, to be honest. So she will move down to the bottom, take out this area. Tribe doing all they can at this point. 14 stars again from them, but is it enough? The war is still in the hands of Penta. and they have to 3-star this next attack to give them any opportunity of qualifying. They still rely on MCES losing later on, but at least it would keep them in the competition. Nevertheless, a 3-star from Nebrax gives a 14-star war for Tribe. That is very impressive.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think all of us were very worried to see if Nebrax could still triple that. Of course, with the RC and the movement speed, he was going to be fine. Even with just the Warden, maybe it could have been okay. It's very questionable. But I think right at the very end, with the few units he had left, when I saw there's still a couple of ADs in that Inferno Tower and that southern compartment, I was just like, okay, this is going to be quite tricky. It's going to be very, very close, but it depends on how much value the RC can get. And he got a huge amount towards the end, so he's going to be pretty happy about that. And Lewis, he is going to be the final attacker here in this war, and like Judo rightly said, he needs to. It's an absolute must he gets a 3-star here, because if he does not, it means that they will not be able to partake any further in the ESL Mobile Challenge in terms of qualification into the final. So we're going to give them a lifeline. They need to get this 3-star, and already making a start in that northern compartment with the Queen coming down here to deal with a few bits here in terms of defensive lineup from Nebrax. And funny enough, it is Nebrax defending this time round. We're going to see what he can do against Lewis.
Oh, can you just imagine the pressure that he has on him at this stage? Everything on his shoulders for his team. He's actually started out pretty good alleviating the Clan Castle troops with very minimal spell usage. Queen still with that ability and a lot of rage spells as she moves in towards the base here. Just nicely picking off Spotter, obviously helping on voice as well in terms of pop that minion up top there for cleanup, nicely working on the storage, and the King is going to help funnel the Queen directly in towards the base. Tesla Farm does not help, and the Queen is getting a little bit caught up, which is going to be time costly, as well as the Tornado capturing her as well. So he's actually just got to make a start with the Dragon Riders. There's no plan B. He's got to go all out here. Get them in. Make sure you don't time fail. You have to get this one, Lewis.
He certainly does. There's 90 seconds left and still a lot to deal with as the King to finish off the AD on the right-hand side. But the main thing is that Fave has taken out that Eagle Artillery, which was so important. He's still got another rage spell to help with those Dragon Riders later on if he needs to, or if he needs to do so anyway. And you can see the RC in the middle manages to survive, use that ability to get into the center, takes out that Inferno Tower, and look how much is left so far, Judo. But you've got to remember, still got to take down the AD and the Wizard Tower down the south. The Scalar Shot as well. The Queen is able to still be able to stay alive, popping her ability and trying to take out everything on the outer edge. But even with the Scalar Shot left, everything's been cleaned up here, Judo. I think we're going to say, I think
he's done it.
Have been able to 3-star win this war as well. There's not really anything else left. It's just going to all come down base to time. The Dragon Rider's still trying to take down that Scalar Shot, but looks like the minion just... Oh, that's typical. That's absolutely typical. But the Queen, though, is still coming down south. But I think if we, calm it a little bit, it looks like they will be able to 3-star. It was pretty close, but it looks like Penta will be able to win this war by the smallest of percentages, and it looks like they can keep themselves in it in the ESL Mobile Challenge, winning by only 1.6%, Judo.
Incredible. That was such an entertaining war. Penta keeping themselves in it, like you said. They've done all they can. They have beaten Tribe, and it all comes down to what happens with MCES and what happens with the Tribe match, because they could leapfrog either one of those teams. Nobody is secure yet. It is going to come down to the final matches, but we have the next one ready right after the break.
ESL Mobile Challenge is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the ESL Mobile Challenge. I'm Lee. Joining me is Lady B. We are into our third match of the day between Repotted Gaming and Team Elevate. Sorry, I can't speak at the moment. That last war was just absolutely ridiculous. I'm still trying to take it all in, but both attackers, it looked a little bit doozy towards the end, but Penta have kept themselves in it. And just to give everyone a little bit of an update with what's going on, it's that there's a potential three-way tie between Penta, the likes of Tribe Gaming, and MCES. So this matchup here is more about pride and bragging rights here between Repotted Gaming and Team Elevate. But just give on an update at home is that the next two matches after this one will be between Alternate Attacks versus MCES, and then the last one will be Repotted Gaming versus Tribe Gaming. But we'll talk a little bit about that later on in those next two matches. We'll go into this matchup as it's the next one on the cards here, as it's more about pride and bragging rights here. But let's start off with Team Elevate here, B.
Yeah, so for Team Elevate, we've seen them doing phenomenal work. And again, their ranking does not showcase their potential and their abilities, let's be honest. They just held back Tompenai to 13 stars. In a previous match, they held them back to 12. Unfortunately, both times not winning on percent, but we can see both the exceptional offense that they bring to the game and defense here. So this is what they're looking to do against Repotted Gaming, again, for the bragging rights. But Repotted Gaming has a nice solid list of some wins under their belts, and despite being in the number 6 position going into this day, they do get the bragging rights of saying they were able to take down ATN, which I think is a huge accomplishment.
Absolutely. You got some faces there such as Timtastic, one incredible attacker, but all of them are pretty much in terms of what kind of standpoint you're looking at in terms of their style of play. If it's from a methodical approach, aggressive approach with the preparation they normally put in for some of these bases. Repotted Gaming, some people may say, one of the least experienced, not all the players, but just a few of the players here and there. And still, they actually came into this competition saying, we're just going to do the best we can and see how it goes. And I'm not too sure if they even realised they were going to make it into the ESL Mobile Challenge. But now that they have done, they've been doing great so far. Sadly, is the end of the road for them anyway. The same with the likes of Team Elevate. But very interested to see what their future holds for them in terms of the competitive Clash of Clans scene. But so far, looks forward to see how they do in this matchup as well against Team Elevate.
Yeah, and you mentioned Timtastic. He's been doing exceedingly well with this ridiculous multi-phase Lalo plan that he uses the Sneaky Goblins to take down the Town Hall. If I remember correctly, I think he works in with a Queen Charge or Zapquake, and he's just doing massive amounts of work to clear out pathing to the point where he essentially has nothing left for the Lalos except for cleanup. And I am hoping to see that today, because that's the one thing that we get excited to see from these teams is the creativity that some of them are bringing, and just a little bit more of a different approach at strategies that we do know quite so well. A little bit of a mix-up there, which is pretty refreshing.
Yeah, I can understand. You want, a bit more diversity, a bit more variety in this matchup, which, do you know what you might see here? Due to the fact that more about pride and bragging rights this time round, as these two teams have sadly already now out of the ESL Mobile Challenge, but it did still have to take to the very last day to even confirm that, because they were still keeping it quite close. And I still feel like with Elevate, if it didn't have a bad first week, it could have been a completely different story. But I'm sure they'll learn from their mistakes, rectify anything coming into this, because even after the ESL Mobile Challenge here, they'll still have a little bit of time to prepare for next season, and of course the future in any other competitions as well. Not to worry about that, of course, in the slightest. But Repotted Gaming trying to look to see if they can secure that 5th place or 6th place, depending on where they actually place here on the standings. But apart from that, though, yeah, I want to see the same. But, not banter to say, but a little bit more variety coming into this matchup.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely get to see that again coming from the likes of Timtastic, but then we'll get to see the efficiency of 11 Original as well. I mean, it's hard to talk about, the creativity and, just kind of regrouping some of these strategies that we know and love without giving some credit to a player like Mark, who does these phenomenal Queen Charge Lalos, which we got to see earlier today. Something that he's really making quite a name for himself for, not only here, but in the World Championships.
And he has done indeed. He's made a big name for himself here, and even though this squad here won't be able to get much further, he knows that there's going to be a lot of potential of this squad in the future anyway. A fantastic attacking team nonetheless. It's just they have these little on and off days, and I think it's just their recovery and their improvisation they seem to need to work on just a little bit here in their future matchups. But apart from that, they've been a great team. Not really too much to say about them in terms of how bad they've done. They've actually been doing really well considering the, you know, you got to remember, this region is stacked, isn't it? Massively stacked in comparison. And it's very, very tough to compete against the likes of, you know, MCES and alternate attacks, etc., with the experience they already have. But, you know, even though they haven't got a wealth of experience, they've got a wealth of knowledge behind it, and hopefully that'll give them a bit more leadway into their future. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of them in the incoming competitions as well.
Well, you talk about this this region being stacked, and the clear factor of that is that 4 of these teams are the May and June gold and silver ticket winners with ATN, MCES, Tompenai, and Elevate. So let's take a look at the June silver ticket winners as they start off. Eve Mark coming in with the Queen Charge Lalo, giving us a little bit of what we wanted to see here. Sends in the blimp with the sneaky goblins to take down the town hall. And we do have the Queen now continuing the path along. What that does is it not only helps to secure taking down the town hall, but he gets that extra value by getting the clan castle lore. Beautiful drop of the poison that gets those super minions inside it, so we can limit the damage that they're throwing at the Queen, though she's in a pretty good spot where she's not taking on too much heat.
Yeah, she's going to be okay so far. There's already one of the loons there just to clean up a little bit here, just to create that funnel for the Queen, which she pretty much has done, thanks to the Tesla being gone. Now just putting that prime focus onto the Inferno Tower in that compartment with that Rage spell. But looking very, very good so far. As, you know, that spell might not even be needed, actually. But, you know, it's best for insurance just in case. You might as well go by how you prepared and how you practiced rather than anything else. And already that King Yak on the southern side as well. Just clean up those structures as well as creating that funnel to dive into that compartment to take out the AD, take out the scatter shot. And the only bad thing is the fact that the Eagle Artillery was actually prioritizing the King, but he's popped his ability nonetheless and is able to survive long enough in order to clean all the defenses there.
Yeah, and doing fabulous tank work for the Royal Champion, who makes her way to pick off this multi-targeting Inferno. Now, she will go through her ability. Not enough to get as far as, well, I can't say that. I would say not as far enough to get as far as the Eagle, but she has the invisibility spell. The only thing is this is where his Lalo is starting, and this keeps a nice continuation moving forward. He's able to use this invisibility spell for the Queen dead there in the center of the core of the base, but ideally what we wanted to see was the Queen to move up, to help to take on the defending AQ. The good thing was he did have a couple of headhunters to try and pick her off, which they successfully did, but the pathing is a little bit veered here, unfortunately, because of the delay and unfortunate takedown of the Queen. This Lalo does not have the full push that it needs because that Queen was supposed to provide additional support and keep it moving along. These loons unfortunately going to suffer a nasty blow due to the scatter shot, though the Hound absorbs a lot of it, and there's no more splash on the back end, but these Skellies will knock them down quickly. Oh, there is one more Wizard Tower, so this is certainly a rip on those loons.
It certainly is. They had to waste a few more loons as well on the 9 o'clock compartment with that Expo there. So a little bit of a shame. They got a little bit expensive along the way, but Mark did his best to try and recover from that. But the best he could get was the 87% 2-star. So nonetheless, a good try from Mark. Did get 88% in the end. Of course, not the best of attacks, but it was a good recovery considering that could have been around in the 70s, considering what he had to go through.
Yeah, that's that's the unfortunate risk you run sometimes with your Queen is a little too much distraction. The Builder Huts knocking her back a little bit further. I unfortunately did not get to see what knocked her healers down, but that Queen, you need her to keep the funnel moving along. We could see the backtrack of the loons, and it just did not give him enough power in it. If he had gotten the proper value out of the Queen, that would have been a 3-star. He knows the strategy through and through. Just sometimes you can't account for your Queen, unfortunately. But Lion coming in now with a big opening because of the 2-star. Again, this is for credit, for pride here. And Repotted Gaming want to try and stay in that number 7 spot. They don't want to lose any more wars along the way. Lion, though, with the drag riders for this Queen charge, the blimp for the Yeti, works his way through to help secure the clan castle lure, but he does not get the eagle down. And with the position of that, I highly suspect, I think I blinked a little too quick and did not fully see that. So that's a bit unfortunate because the eagle's getting repaired by the builder and gonna just be more of a risk. He's got to find another way to try and re-navigate this, though. I mean, he could do it with the drag riders. It's just a little bit wider of a pathing than he would have likely chosen to go with.
Yeah, it just means he has to tank a lot more damage along the way as the Queen continuing to go into that compartment, just using another rage spell just to deal with that defensive king. And of course, trying to deal with anything else there as well. The positioning could have been a little bit more forward, possibly, but it looks like it's going to be okay nonetheless, because no matter how you see it, it's just going to speed things up just a little bit more, but it could be quite far from a time foul. We'll see how Leon does with this next attack, and you can see, as well as the loons and the drags, the drag riders there coming on out, the RC will join the forces as well to try and help clean out the defenses in this northern compartment. And it looks like the RC is going to be prioritising the Expo and that Eagle Artillery, which is going to be absolutely huge. And like you've already mentioned, B, that the Eagle Artillery is still alive, and he's already done a huge chunk of damage to 2 of those Dragon Riders, which he did not want. But luckily, the RC was prioritised to go into that compartment instead of anything else, and is now going into the centre to try and take out this Inferno Tower and the Teslas as well. So the RC now needs to have his ability popped. But see that though, the Dragon Rider still on the left-hand side with the Warden to take out the Wizards and Archer Tower there too, with the minions just slowly behind it. But it's going to be quite close as the Scatter has been cleaned up still. It's just the AD and the Teslas on the southern side. But because the Queen is still alive and able to tank this damage, it's going to be okay. It just depends on time.
Yeah, that Royal Champion actually hanging on to the Eagle was a good position for her because it allowed her to get that straight path into the center of the base, which really did help the shape up and funnel a little bit more of the drag riders. Though we had that moated section that kind of kept them trained and in line. The Queen has done superb work here, as you can see, just forcing that ability in the end, absolutely swagged at it and coming in with a phenomenal 3-star start.
And the Eagle Artillery was still up and he was fine. I think he took at least 2 hits from it as well, even with those Dragon Riders, and still made that really successful. I don't imagine how many units he would have had left at the end if he did take out the Eagle Artillery. But I like the recovery he made. You could see that there was like a 5-10 second stint. He'd just think about it and go, right, okay, need to focus on the northern compartment first with those Dragon Riders, and then that way I can create a funnel for the RC to prioritize the Eagle Artillery, and then straight afterwards go towards the center in the Inferno Tower. So you can see there was a plan B which absolutely worked 100%, and Leon should be very happy with that recovery he made. But Carlito now is going to be next on the second attack for Elevate against Yanis of Repotted Gaming, just making a start in this 4 o'clock compartment with the Queen, and then we can see what he can do here.
Oh no, he did not get into the compartment. I was like struggling to see, squinting over the walls to see if they made it into the multi, but they didn't. And that forced them to take down the outlying defenses. The multi doesn't go down, and this is risky for the healers because that multi-targeting Inferno does have range. So I like the positioning of the healers that he is putting in right now. Walrick's going to open up, keep the Queen connecting, and the healers, because of the way he's placed them, will keep their way away from the multi, but they do, I would say, run a slight risk of the scattershot taking a hold on them, which they don't. And nice use of the Drag Rider to come in and pick that off, so there is no chance that these healers will get scuffed.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense there, because we need to try and keep this Queen alive for as long as possible. Considering if she didn't have those healers, I could tell you what, she'd be struggling a lot more against this Lava Hound and Ice coming her way. Especially with that Expo just dealing that additional DPS for Yanis. And now you can see the King Yak just making sure to make a start on the work in that Town Hall. The only problem is the Eagle Artillery was prioritizing the King, so he needs to try and get this done ASAP when he can. But the ability has been popped yet, so he's still got plenty of time. But at the same time, though, the Drag Riders and the Loon and the minions there just come in
King.
from that 3 o'clock. Some of the RC coming out to take out the Eagle Artillery. But if we go back to that 9 o'clock position, still trying to take down that Town Hall, just barely manages to be able to do it. And yeah, I was a bit shaky there in that compartment, but he's going to be okay so far, as you can see, he's progressing onto the northern side to deal with that Tesla farm and that scatter shot.
Ooh, and even the Queen struggling, just forces that ability through, but she backtracks a little bit, sends in the baby drag just to force her into the center. Invisibility spell is going to keep her alive, but this is all to try and keep the Drag Riders section together, working along. Their strength is in their power together. You don't want to see them split up too far apart, taking on flanking damage from around. And he did manage to corral most of them back. The Royal Champ sneaking through, picking off some of the last remaining defenses. It's a matter of time now. 36 seconds left to go. And with the Royal Champ down, this Queen, I would say, needs to break through walls, but she does have a big opening if she takes it, and minions on the top side of the base. This freeze, not necessarily needed, but he drops it anyway for safe measure, because why risk losing out your Queen when it could come down to time? And is time going to be the factor? It is not, as Carlito comes in and saves that 3-star. You were right, though. That king, oh my goodness, I was holding my breath. And I gotta point out the nice use of the sneaky goblins that he brought in. He brought in one to definitely help get that king quickly past the gold storage that was right in his way. But it was that beeline. The second one actually tripped up a bunch of traps, some of the bombs and giant bombs, which meant that the king didn't take on too much damage. And it was like that close. So that was a bit of a difference maker there, because by the time he forced that ability, that king, he got it just on the last drop. But let's see what Klinga has in store as he brings in some more of the Queen Charge Drag Rider.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw the Eagle Artillery prioritizing the king, I was like, okay, this could be a little bit of trouble here, depending on what the next shot's gonna be. And of course, you want it to be on the Queen, so you can try and soak up as much damage as possible. So that was. Yeah, it was a little bit of a worry, but luckily he got there in the end with the 3-star. Didn't really have any storages to deal with, just some of those mines in order to clean up that structures on the outer edge in that last attack there. So the Queen going to be starting off from the southern side, dealing with that Lava Hound for the time being. The King Yak just making that funnel for the outer edge, just trying to take out all of these structures while soaking up all the damage at the exact same time. The Queen's going to be pushing in now towards that Inferno Tower in the southern compartment, as well as taking out the AD as well. But pretty standard, looking okay so far. The King's just trying to do as much as possible here. Actually gets into that compartment, and there's actually going to take down the AD too. So is he pretty happy about that?
Yeah, it's not going to get as far as the town hall, but the Queen does have another wall break and a jump to try and force her into the town hall compartment, work her way through. He's being very patient on this one. The jump won't be able to connect these double chambers, so letting her beat through the wall and work her way in so the jump can get her into the town hall compartment. And I like this approach. You know, an early takedown of the Eagle Artillery, something that we know will continuously fire away, especially if it's left long range for your drag riders. To take it on where the Queen can navigate her path and get a straight set through the town hall is very nice. So I like the base recognition on this and the value he can pick up with it. And this is where you get to see how narrowed out the path that you can get with this kind of approach. So the drag riders have an easy push coming through.
This is looking really clean indeed, just pushing towards both of those scanner shots and the Inferno Tower there. The Queen making full use of that jump spell there, just doing the hurdles, making sure to get into that town hall. Should be able to take it with ease there, but as I said that though, she's run out from that rage spell, but it doesn't matter here, because a couple of Dragon Riders just going to give a little bit of a helping hand to make sure that is secured by any means. And the healers are still alive as well, as long as the Queen's able to stay alive a little bit longer, which she does use that invisibility spell for, just to make sure he can continue to do damage, because I think he's realised now that if you look across the map, there's only a couple of Dragon Riders left. The Queen's actually been taken down as well, so this is a big worry due to the fact that look what's left here. There's still a couple of towers to deal with, a couple of testers as well, and these minions are just not going to cut it here, so this is going to be based on percentage.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the King wasn't able to clean up just a little bit more there to help this Tesla farm not doing any favors. Just a little bit too much fire away on this one. And the Drag Riders, of course, not enough power to really help the Queen on the back end, which is a big problem here. So Klinga giving this opening back over to Elevate by 2-starring here. We'll have to see what the percentage is going to be, leaving it at that 87%. Is that a 1-star difference? Was it an 86% that we saw coming in from Elevate, I think?
I was trying to remember from the top of my head, actually, because I suppose we'll check that in a second. But yeah, I think in terms of stars, it's actually the same.
88.
It's just the small amount of percent. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 1% difference from both of them. Of course, Elevate had that, a little bit of a blunder earlier on, and we saw Leon do the best he could earlier on for Repotted gaming as well. But yeah, you can see there, yeah, literally 1% difference between the two teams. Trying to keep this as competitive as possible, but I shouldn't be surprised at this point as Elevate been doing a good job. Just be able to recollect themselves and recuperate after that first attack, and Repotted game is a bit like the opposite end of the spectrum. But it's a shame how that last portion of the attack went, because when we saw the Queen, we thought to ourselves, okay, she could be okay here. It seems like she'll be able to stay alive long enough to be able to take out the rest of the defenses, but sadly not. But if that Queen did stay alive, there's no reason why she couldn't take up those mortars and testers at the very end to help with the minions to be on cleanup duty to get that 3-star. So it was very, very close between the two, but in the end, it will be Repotted game who do fall a little bit short here, but we'll see how this next attacks goes, because we're just about to head into that halfway mark.
Yeah, this is a point that gets really exciting, especially when you can keep the matches close. And a lot of times, I mean, we've seen these teams going 3 after 3 after 3, but when you can keep it even 1% difference, that's impressive and makes it just that more exciting. But again, I want to highlight the fact that while these two teams are sitting below in the rankings, you can see the superb work that they're doing, the great bases that they're bringing to the game, and just the incredible attacks and the smart planning that they bring along with them. And let's see what Kala has in store, because he brought in the first attack for their matchup against Tompenai with the Drag Bat, switching it up a little bit and bringing in the Zap Quake Drag. We do have Loons helping the outlying perimeter here. Defenses giving the Royal Champ just a little bit more value. Also notices that there's no Teslas along the way, so the Royal Champ's going to be able to sneak her way in and look to take on the Town Hall here. Very, very nice so far. And we did get the Zapquake coming in, helping to take on some of the outlying defenses, giving this Royal Champ just a little bit more push. It looks like it was able to take out some of the Builder Huts as well for what the Royal Champ needed, that there was no additional regeneration.
Yeah, he's going to be very, very pleased about that. You can see the King coming in from the north side to create that funnel if necessary. And you can see the Drag and the Drag Riders now, as well as those Loons coming in to say hello from the northern side. The Stone Slammer making an appearance. It's only the second time we've seen a Stone Slammer, or maybe a third over the last few wars, which is a little bit surprising considering the amount of Stone Slammers we've actually seen over the last couple of play days. Just taking out that scatter shot there, just tanking a lot of this damage for these Drags and these Drag Riders, just pushing into the center, but still a lot more work needs to be done here. That Lava Hound just trying to delay this push just a tad, and the Stone Slammer does get taken down, but it's going to be pushing up the Loons coming out here. But this is going to be a little bit of trouble. The Eagle Artillery finally get taken down using that the invisibility spell on that 9 o'clock compartment as well, just keeping some of these Drags and that Warden alive. But it's the AD which is going to be doing a huge amount of damage towards these Drags on the left-hand side. Still got a few more on the right-hand side as well, but the Queen is just looking to continue making that path as well. And it's going to be a little bit closer considering the circumstances he's put himself in.
I don't know what this Warden's doing. Warden's in left field over with like 1 or 2 dragons. Unfortunately loses out that additional power that he offers, but what we also saw was the dragons pushing along the outside edge and not helping for the push inside. I love the opening passage for the King and Queen, and that helps out just a little bit more. This one lonely drag rider trying to take out the scatter shot single-handedly, unable to do it, which means the Queen's not going to have enough juice left over to take this down. It's a bit unfortunate on the pathing, a bit unfortunate on the Warden, and this is going to leave Eve Kala with another 2-star on the board here. Question is, can they pull in another defense to try and keep this head-to-head?
Well, I hope so. 2-star, 91%, you know. I don't think in terms of percentage, that's actually fine. That's actually okay considering what he went for at the very beginning. You saw the Drags took a lot of damage from that 9 o'clock sign as well. Had used an invisibility spell just to try and keep him alive. But the AD just stayed alive for so long. That was just a big portion of that army just cleaned up straight away. And when you saw him go to the southern side with the Queen, it was just a matter of time, really. We knew it was going to be time fails to a certain extent. It just depended on that percentile. But it was just way too much left, and a little bit of a shame really, because he had a very good start with the RC on the Town Hall.
Yeah, it was a nice opener, nice setup. I think a little delayed on the King to try and force everything through. But, you know, them's are the breaks. And we do have General X now who can capitalize off of this, trying to claim a 1-star lead and reclaim that pride against Team Elevate. Sends in the E-Drag to start up the funnel. And this is a nice section to do it. And you can see the close proximity of these structures along the outside perimeter, which gives maximum value out of this chain ability, no more than 1 tile away. So he can clear out this entire 3 o'clock section easily with the assist of those rocket loons. Oh my goodness, this is a lovely, lovely funnel with very minimal resources used to kick off these E-Drags. But Lethal, he's got to play this careful. We've talked about these E-Drags, and the problem is when you send them into the center of the base, you run the risk of them running right through into the town hall. You want the blimp or Stone Slimer to come in. You want to see a path working around so you don't lose everything in the poison bomb. But there's not a lot to worry about on the back end. We do have the scatter shot. If he can keep his queen ability, just get that town hall down, he should be in a good position.
Yeah, hopefully so, as the Stone Slam has tanked a lot of damage going through the process of that center, and already the E-Drags have managed to make it. Not actually taking a huge amount of damage either, but look at the King as well, just taking out all those structures on that southern side, whilst these E-Drags are still alive, pushing on up, and now some great spell usage as well from General X, making sure Mark can't get the DPS he requires in order to keep this army back there. But saying so, having a look so far, still got the AD, the scatter shot, and the Expo there on the southern side as well, just trying to keep everything at bay. The main problem is, though, those E-Drags on the right-hand side have taken a huge amount of damage, but do you know what, B? I don't think it's going to matter at this point. The RC and the Queen just working together to make sure to finish off the last bits of the puzzle of this base, and luckily for them, those E-Drags went to the right-hand side, but you know what, it doesn't even matter if they were cleaned up, because the Queen and the RC would have been able to finish up the process anyway. It does not matter. That is going to be a 3-star from Repotted Gaming, and General X did it in clean fashion with 50 seconds left.
Clean and some extra swag, just dropping down that unneeded freeze and poison. That was a beautiful push coming in. You could see the power of those E-Drags in a base that's very just close connected, like close knitted, compartmentalized, and that works out lovely, especially because he kept most of those E-Drags weighted to the outside edge of the town hall to help with the cleanup. But really, there was so much time left over with that, and I gotta give that to the start of the funnel that he got in it. But let's see what Eve Kartoffee has, bringing in some more drags. But we've got the drag bat, which I'm surprised we didn't get to see from Eve Kala. Let's see if the drag bat can do Kartoffee some favors, try and get them back in this one as they are starting to dwindle down on attacks. Wall break to open up the passage for the king and queen. We want a nice deep hero dive coming in. Work them along to pick up that scatter shot, though the queen is straying, which means if he, oh, she's coming back around, but this king can barrel through walls and give even more value to the queen.
Yeah, I normally see this drag back composition a lot more in the North American region than we do in the EU, but we do see it from time and time again. We've seen it once before yesterday, and we're going to see it once again today. It does work out against some of these base builds. As we did the queen now just having to deal with a little bit here. She's actually going around to the other side, to the outer edge here, to give a little bit more room here to go take out that archer tower as well. But you can see the drag riders and those drags coming from that side in the 10 o'clock position, as well as the RC coming in from the 9 o'clock side as well, just to try and clear out some of these defenses just before these units can actually make it in. The blimp will be coming out as well, going to the south side, assumingly towards about the town hall. And look at this though, it was great use of the spells earlier on, but the sweeper just keeping them back just a tad, but the blimp still got a fair amount of HP here. Going to be okay to be able to make it into that town hall, and does make it in the end. It doesn't matter if he actually gets to take it down as the drags and the drag riders have actually spent quite a lot, and we're about to take it down. I don't think so, as the bats are now coming in from that 2 o'clock side as well.
The town hall, the sneaky goblins, the air sweeper pushed the blimp back. The sneaky goblins didn't land right. A perfectly placed tornado trap holds them off. And what are they going to have to pick off the town hall here? This dragon's going down quickly. Oof. And that invisibility spell doesn't even get the warden in. Nothing to recover this one. Oh, this is a heartbreaker for Kartoffee.
I actually can't believe that. You're right. When I saw that go in, I missed a bit with the sweep and actually pushed it back to not take down the town hall. And that's going to be a huge deficit now. Or Elevate. That definitely was not what he was looking for. They're already a star behind. And now, if Repotted Gaming 3-star this next attack, it will mean they're going to be 3 stars behind. You hate to see it. 64% and 1 star, as General X, he had a fantastic attack earlier on. He's going to be happy with his defense as well. And So, sweepers can get a little bit in the way sometimes, but that was a huge blunder, as he couldn't really, recover from that or improvise from that at all in the slightest. So that was a real shame there from Katafi.
Oh, and we talk about the great defenses, but this really highlights placement of your traps, why you put some of these tornado traps near the town hall. And that's exactly why, because it can do that job pushing the sneaky goblins out of the way, and those storages are placed there in that compartment just for that reason, to keep the sneaky goblins away from the town hall. So perfect trap placement coming in from Repotted Gaming. Now Giannis, knowing that they're pretty secure at this point, coming through with more drag bat action, and for them, they are hoping to secure at very least a 2-star in this one. Starts cleaning up near the town hall compartment, but I'm curious to see if he is going to send in the blimp there. He's lining this up for the pathing to do so.
Yeah, the bats weren't really any use towards the end of the last attack because the damage had already been done, but we'll have a look this time round. I was already just prime focus being on that Eagle artillery. The Kings now be going on the outside to create that funnel. The Drags continuing to plow on into the center to deal with those Inferno Towers and that scanner shot. Good placement of the Rage Spell, as well as the units are just approaching into it now, knowing the position and coming in with the blimp. Hopefully this will be perfectly fine in comparison to what we saw in that last attack, as Giannis is going to show how it's done. But the sweeper is pushing back the blimp ever so slightly, but hasn't really taken much damage as of yet. And as I say that, as one of the traps does appear, and he does make it to the town hall. The King still funneling onto the southern side. The Queen on that 9 o'clock side as well, directly behind it. And the bats are now coming out from the eastern side as well to clean up that southern compartment. And it looks like this is going to be a fantastic attack from Giannis and Repotted Gaming. And that means that Repotted Gaming are going to be having a 3-star lead going into this final attack.
That was an absolute massacre. These bats just packing a nasty punch on the back end, where the Drags did so much work. Nice timing on the blimp. A lot of patience in that. Also keeping an eye on the health of the blimp, knowing that the Dragons were clearing the pathing. He would be fine. And I'm sure he knows that there was no issue for his sneaky goblins to have to worry about any storages to latch onto. But we can see the stats here now where this does leave Team Elevate down. This is a tough one. Down by 3 stars here for them. That 1 star really hurt. And of course, with these continuous 3 stars coming in from RPG, they've just not been leaving any room for opening regardless.
They really haven't. Like, Repotted Gaming has some solid defenses, some debatable executions as well, but I think in this situation with the blimp earlier on going to that town hall and that second's last attack, it was just, it could have happened to anyone. It's just a shame that with the traps placed, like you rightly mentioned, the sneaky goblins not been able to take that town hall down. That was a real shame indeed. But even then, even if they got that 2-star, I'm not too sure if it would have been a 3-star overall anyway. It's just, it would have been really tough. And I think Repotted Gaming would still be able to take this. But because of that previous attack, it's pretty much a guarantee now at this point. There's no way they can come back from this at all. It's almost mathematically impossible considering the percentile they got earlier on as well. So that was a real shame, and that could have worked wonderfully if he had made it through, but it depends on the circumstances of the scenario puts himself in afterwards with the recovery. So yeah, a little bit of a blunder, a little bit of a shame there. Not the way you want to kind of go out, really, considering, because I've said some great things about Elevate as well, but we're not going to let that one attack kind of show exactly reflect how they normally do in these wars. So the Warder will be coming out quite early here on that 9 o'clock side, focusing on that compartment with the Inferno Tower and the AD to kick things off. And Vision gonna have a little bit of pride here, try and get that 3-star to finish off this war nicely.
I like this opener because we're picking off the multi, of course. We can see an easy compartmentalized focus into the center of the base, lining up the pathing. He's already opened up the section to take on the Eagle. This is where we're going to see the main push coming through. And from the north side at the 12 o'clock, he's cleared out good pathing as well. We'll have the King, the Witches working together to keep that funnel moving in. But the kicker is this log launcher. This is something that we don't get to see as often, but it really is a powerful strategy because you have the continuous push. It opens up the walls, eases up the passage, and we typically see either Yetis or Ice Golems to come out of those and work their way through. With the Yetis, they do a lot of great work to the back end of the base, helping to take on the Town Hall, giving more passage for these P.E.K.K.A.s. And for the Ice Golems, they can really help in the core of the base where there's a lot of damage coming in to just hold off those defenses. But this has a great push inside.
Yeah, and they're still trying to take on that scanner shot. It's been alive for quite a while, but luckily for him, the units did split, and one of the loons did go towards the path of that scanner shot. As the visibility spell there near the Town Hall still continue to do work in the center as well. These P.E.K.K.A.s are just doing such a huge amount here. And you can see the main defenses now, it's just a couple of those ADs and that scatter shot on the southwestern side. But at this point with ADs, you don't need to worry about it really. The P.E.K.K.A.s do have a fair amount of HP, and you've got the Warden there as well. Just making sure to clean up that southern side first, and you can see there's still plenty of time left remaining. Still a minute left in order to clean this up. But even though the P.E.K.K.A.s are pretty damn slow, I don't think it's going to matter at this point, because it's only about 2 Archer Towers and the Wizard Tower there to kind of clean up, and that Morton. I think there's a couple of testers up there as well, but apart from that, that's going to be about it. So it's all going to be based on time for Elevate's last attack.
I love reaching up that Ice Golem. He doesn't need to worry about these spells at this point. He's got everything he needs with that Royal Champ ability and plenty of time on the clock. But that jump, you know, even though you're bringing these log launchers, you might wonder, okay, if it's going to open up the walls, why do I bring a jump? A, because if you don't get that Town Hall compartment open, you need to make sure you do. But depending on the placement of it, which we saw there, you have more access to move everything through, where the Queen can easily split off, take on the Town Hall, or vice versa. It could be some of the other troops. You just need to make sure that at the end of the raid, when time is a factor, you're not banging your head against a wall there. And that's why he had so much time left over on it. But yeah, this log launcher combination is a beautiful, beautiful one for it. Timtastic, though. Oh, I'm going to be disappointed now, because I was hoping to see the Sneaky Goblin multi-phase takedown that he does, and unfortunately not bringing it to the table today.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. Timtastic, he's been very creative, like you rightly mentioned there. Blimp going in to that compartment on cleanup duty. And yeah, to talk about it as well, like we can see here, Repotted Gaming had a fantastic war here, and they're going to win by at least 2 or 3 star, depends how Timtastic feels really, and if he's like feeling generous or not. You know, if he does want to be generous, he'll win by 2 stars, but if he wants to be selfish, he can go for the 3 star. That's going to be perfectly fine. But look at this though, he's already done a huge amount of damage into that compartment. We've only the Builder Hut left standing. Now we can see how this next push in the attack pans out. He's still got quite a few spells, got a few free spells, got a few haste spells as well. When this next attack comes into fruition with this Lalo attack, he's going to be coming in, starting off with the Queen on that northern side. The King's going to be coming out as well to create that funnel. We'll find a couple of testers along the way, but that's going to stop it at all. As you can see now, the Ice Golem now coming in to tank some of that damage, and the Queen is making its way towards the Town Hall.
Yeah, so this is actually really nice pathing, but did he not get that wall break in? He did not, and the King's speeding through the wrong wall, because we wanted to send in the Royal Champion for the scattershot compartment. This is unfortunately going all sorts of wrong for Tim, and he did not get the full clan castle lure, which I was curious about with the Blizzard. And as you can see, we've got the Headhunters coming out, though this Ice Golem freeze really helps, especially with the poison at place, but he's going to have to head in straight for this Town Hall. One more invisibility spell left. I think it's too risky to try and bring in the Royal Champ for this. And it's not even activated, so she can't make that pass for it quite yet. So this means Alala's going to have to push through. And I do like that he's... Oh, wait, hold up. Hold up, because he's switching this over. Royal Champ coming in. The Warden is on air right now, so he is starting the pass up. Is he using this Warden on air for his Royal Champion to try and work through? This is kind of like a last-ditch effort to get as much as possible out of this. And he is going to send the Lalo, getting right to the percentage needed, going for that 51%, so he can get the Lalo in, take down the Town Hall, and the Royal Champion and Warden together can pick up more percent value. This really was a nice adjustment to just ensure he could pick up the 2-star here and not run the risk of losing that final ground, though I still don't think it would have been enough at this point with the final attack.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to be safe rather than sorry, just using those haste spells to yeet into the Town Hall, and he's going to be perfectly fine with that. As even though we're about to even 3-star, at least he's done a perfectly good job. He just wanted to play it safe. He just wanted a lot of element of caution, which is perfectly understandable. The Arsenal will get taken out eventually, won't be able to finish up the scout shot, but it doesn't really matter at this point, B. He's done a fantastic job nonetheless. 90% 2-star, maybe a little bit more here going into it. 91%, but that will mean that Repotted Gaming have won this war. They've won it by 2 stars, 13-11 by quite a large margin in terms of percentile as well. As we're just about to go into it here, you can see they've won by 7% exactly, which is quite a lot considering what they went through. Sadly, that 1 star, 62% did not help them at all in the slightest. But for Elevate, though, apart from that, both these teams have done tremendous work so far in the ESL Mobile Challenge, considering their position and the caliber of teams they've been up against as well.
They really have. You gotta give it to Elevate. They've been working hard. They've been showing up, and a couple of slip-ups don't mean that, you know, they lose any of the credit that they've earned get here.
It's
so
fine.
Beautiful work from them. But, you know, RPG has been really showcasing themselves and doing great work. So a nice way for them to get through that matchup. They'll still have one more later. But first, we're going to get to see another big matchup that is going to shape up what we're going to see in the number 3 and 4 spots. So stay tuned. We will see you after the break for MCES versus ATN.
What makes your team so highly consistent compared to the other squads? Because we've noticed that we've seen a lot more stars, perfect wars, high percentile, etc. And your attack executions are so good. But what makes you so highly consistent compared to the other teams? Not just in our region, but just worldwide.
First of all, we've worked as a team now for over a year, so for sure we know each other pretty well and know our strengths and weaknesses. So it's a bit easier to divide plans between the players. And yeah, we also spend a lot of time practicing, so that really helps with the execution.
Now, that was actually coming to my next question as well, is how do you prepare for your future matchups, and what are your strengths? Like, you know, would you say it's something to do with your attacking? Is it something in particular with your executions? Is it your base builds? Is there anything in particular which really makes your team stand out from the rest?
Yeah, I think usually we do a pretty good job with base building. We scout a bit the opponents and try to guess a bit what strategies they're gonna use against us and try to trap them a bit. And yeah, mainly our practice consists of base testing, and yeah, we get a lot of practice attacks as we try to act like our opponent and attack our own bases.
Now, for your team, who would you say is your biggest rival? And I think it's a more of a difficult question compared to before the ESL Mobile Challenge actually started. Like, a lot of people would have made the assumption it's maybe MCES or Tribe, but considering how close the standings are in terms of results and absolutely neck on neck, and a lot of these matches have been a nail biter, I think it's probably a little bit more difficult to kind of answer. But who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
Tompenai won the golden ticket last week, and they've been looking really strong in the past weeks. So I would say they're the biggest rival of us.
Great, thank you very much, Ast. Is there anything you want to say to your fans before you go?
I would like to thank everyone for the support. It's always nice to see the ATN fans in the chat hyping up, and yeah, just auf geht's attacks.
Thank you very much for your time indeed. Congratulations on how you've been progressing so far in the ESL Mobile Challenge, and we'll see you very soon, and good luck with the rest of your matches.
Thank you very much.
Let's break down one of the attacks from top of the table team alternate attacks. This one, Boom, using the Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash. I know that you like this strategy, Lady B, and this was a fantastic example.
It really was. I love that we're seeing ground still in the mix, and we are seeing it come in very successfully, which Boom shows us here. And one of the key things is he starts off with this Warden to help set up the funnel. We see the Warden often because of his nice long range. He has that 7-tile range that he can reach over the walls, no wall breaks needed to get things like the multi-targeting Inferno, which is going to help bring his path around and also limit any damage coming onto those healers as they make their pass through the base.
Yes, it's pretty easy to calculate in terms of the Archer Queen can reach a building that is 3 tiles in gap behind a wall, but you can see here the Grand Warden can reach 4 tiles in gap. So that is why he can reach the multi. Beautiful value setting up the funnel on that side, and you can see the wall break all the way to the 10 o'clock area. That is for the King. The thing I really like here is Boom uses the King to set up the funnel for his P.E.K.K.A. Smash, and then the King will move on into that compartment. Beautiful value.
Beautiful position as well here from the blimp that's coming through. Now, very mindful that he gets us through the Warden ability because he needs to make sure it gets the push into the Town Hall there. And though met with a little bit of resistance from the Air Sweeper, he times it perfectly to open it up and get those sneaky goblins right over the Town Hall.
Yes, and he has a plan for each channel of the base. So you can see the P.E.K.K.A. moving through the center, but we have the King and the nicely deployed Royal Champion alongside that. You might as well take advantage of the tanking. The jump spell also allows everything to merge together in the 2 compartments to the southwest. And even though he's almost ignoring the other compartments at this stage, the core of the base is down, and he can allow the Royal Champion to swoop on through alongside the rest of his army.
The timing of that Royal Champion really did allow the King to survive as long as he did, which comes into play as far as the cleanup is concerned, which can be a huge factor in these attacks, particularly if you're starting with your Warden walks. So, timing and everything on this was superb, but I also want to point out that when he jumped through into that last compartment, we had the scatter shot. After that, everything else was reachable from where he sectioned it off and cleaned it up. And that's very important when you're doing your P.E.K.K.A. smashes, that you know what's going to be remaining on the back end and how you can easily handle it.
Particularly with that Royal Champion ability as well, making sure to wait so that he could target the Wizard Tower. Waiting in that final compartment, wasn't even close, tore apart the base, and that was another beautiful attack for us to break down.
ESL Mobile Challenge is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Welcome back to the ESL Challenge. This is the big matchup, Lady B. Alternate Attacks versus MCES, trying to secure their position in the top 4 and qualifying to the finals.
Yeah, they took a little bit of a hit back, but they are still in this, and they're trying to get this extra win to definitely secure it. But I mean, in general, ATN versus MCES is a matchup we love to see, and ATN, of course, being the top dogs now, #1 spot, 11 wins under their belt. They want to walk away with one more, and they want to do this by taking down MCES, who's, you know, I mean, they had that loss to Tribe Gaming, which was a bit unfortunate because of the defenses that we saw. That was pretty impressive coming from Tribe. I'm curious to see if ATN's defenses can hold them back this strong.
Absolutely, because MCES have put up a lot of stars. I think if we do get down to that triple tie-up, MCES will definitely be within a fighting chance of getting through because they have put so many high-scoring wars on the board, just slipping down and losing the odd one. But I do want to mention, Lady B, picking up on what Lethal said in the last war about how stacked this competition is. The first matchup we cast was a rematch of last month's World Qualifier finals, and this one is almost, well, it is a rematch of the qualifier #1 finals. MCES hoping to take time alternate to get their revenge as well. That is how stacked the competition is.
Yeah, and we are, of course, talking about the May and June gold and silver ticket winners for each of these matchups. So pretty impressive lineup. It's a heavy hitting tournament that we have, particularly for this region. Because of that, and you've seen some of the other clans just really holding strong against it, including Penta, who was able to just narrowly, I mean, that was a close matchup, but just narrowly squeeze in that victory at the very end to kind of mess up a little bit, or, you know, try and mess up. We'll have to see what happens, the rankings as we go into the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I mean, it squares everybody up, doesn't it? Because we now have Tribe, MCES, and Penta all on equal wins. But Penta are finished. No more matches. We do have MCES here and Tribe. So both of those, if they win, solidify their spot. They knock Penta out of this. And it is Remio beginning. Zap, Lava Loon, Lightning right in the center of the base. This is a big war for MCES. The pressure is on as he uses a wall wrecker to the town hall. We see this a lot from MCES, don't we?
Yeah, these safe approaches. I don't think they want to take any risks with the blimps. No bait. And I don't know that they necessarily trust ATN with this, but this wall wrecker actually opens up relatively early. Sneaky Goblins do have the passage in and are able to just take down the town hall. This is a nice value out of it as it pulls the clan castle, allows the heroes to pick this up and continue on their way to get even more value. We can see the opening here. This is a nice long open chamber for the king and queen to both take out the multi-targeting inferno, the single, and the queen to shape up a really smooth, easy path for the Lalo.
Indeed, the Archer Tower actually made the Queen step a couple of tiles to the right and drew her in, which is fantastic. Always the chance she could have gone to the outside there, and that just gives so much value, like you said. She will have to take down the enemy Queen momentarily. We've also had the Royal Champion already having a bit of a stab to the right-hand side of the base. Presumably, we will see the Lalo moving in towards the Eagle to try and protect the Queen here as well as soon as she gets through these next couple of defenses.
Ooh, just drops that invisibility spell. Yeah, I was wondering if she'd hold that a little bit longer, but I don't think he wanted to risk that single not going down. The Lalo, though, pathing in, needs to see everything focus into the scatter shots, but the Warden's timing is perfect because it clips a huge chunk of the spread here to get these loons safely through both of the scatter shots.
Yeah, I thought he was going to dive in towards the Eagle and try and save the Warden ability for the back-end scatter shots, but decides just to take those down early. fly right on into that eagle at the end, because I guess he does have just much better spread of the balloons from that top area, and it has paid off because they have cruised through this base. 49 seconds, and he is good here with a big group of balloons. A lava hound not even popped, and one balloon in the pocket, which he can now use for cleanup. Down to the bottom, the exact start that MCES wanted. They only had this one matchup today. They knew they're going up against MCES. Against themselves, against alternate attacks. So they will have their absolute best bases to try and defend. That was the perfect start for them, though.
Yeah, definitely a nice start. And you pointed out that back pocket loon. I love that move. You'll see some of the pro players doing this because they know if you ever run the risk of time fail, with the spread out of cleanup, or even you need a little distraction for a back-end defense, wizard towers, archer towers, air defenses. That is a good item to have. So Remio, very smart, and he's a skilled Lalo attacker. He knows that move in and out. Vala, also a skilled attacker coming in, but bringing in something we're seeing him do a lot more, and that is this Queen Charge hybrid, opening up the path for the Queen to make her way through, to take on the scatter shot and make her push direct towards the Town Hall compartment. The nice thing is where she is, he can actually open up the outer side of the wall to get the Queen to path around and back into the Town Hall.
Vale knows this is baited now. That is 4 seeking air mines that have gone off right over here. But thankfully, he has not lost a single healer. There was also the spring trap, which very nearly caught that super wall breaker. Thankfully, he does have the second one. I'm wondering whether he's going to send in... Oh, he hasn't got another balloon to send in. So now it is healers protecting the healers, but being able to get through 4 seeking air mines. There is a 5th as well. He knows it's baited, but he's been able to successfully get through, and the wall breaker literally just opens the wall to allow the Queen around and to that Town Hall compartment.
You got to think about the massive head games that are probably going on between these two teams that have faced off against each other numerous times and likely trying to get into each other's head. But like you said, Vala is not falling for it. Now he gets his Queen moving through in a fairly safe spot. 2 more rages left to go to keep her alive, but he needs to consider starting this off. So we send in the drag riders directly heading over the eagle. These healers are still picking up traps along the way. He's kind of rage up this Queen because she's not making her way. She didn't take the bait into the Town Hall. She's beating her way through the wall to get there.
He's still got the ability, so I think he's just kind of waiting at the moment, but I agree. She is taking her time, and basically all of the seeking air mines were in that region, which means it could have gone awfully wrong. But think about this. Vale didn't really lose many healers, and it means there's pretty much none of them left for the Dragon Riders, and that is a major thing for the Dragon Riders. If they hit seeking air mines, they were all to the other side of the base, so he's got an easy path now right of the way through. There is one more in the center, but that is basically all of them. Vale thankfully avoiding the trap set up from MCES. They know how close they were to getting him on that one, but it's not happening versus the world's MVP. 1 3-star apiece, and MCES have to keep going and putting the pressure on yet again.
And that was like tiptoeing through the entire portion of that Queen Charge step by step, but it pays off. You have to think about what your opponents are going to be trying to bring, especially to trip you up. And if you can keep on guard, you can protect yourself against that. But did you notice he had all of his hero abilities left just to the very end, about 37 seconds left to go. Didn't necessarily need to force them off, but did in good measure, but also had that invisibility spell left over. So absolutely dominating on that start.
Always the sign of a crushing attack when you have that much left over. But MCES will know that alternate. Whilst they are through, they have the #1 seed. They are going for more. They are going for absolute... I mean, they are just looking to conquer this league and make sure moving to the finals, they are that favorite seed and everyone is worried about them. But Arium has to shake that off. He's actually diving straight in with the battle blimp, gets to that compartment with the invisibility. The tornado is there, though, for the Super Wizards, so he should get the Town Hall, but maybe not the value he was intending.
And secures a Town Hall there, drops the final invisibility spell to try and pick off a little bit more, but the heroes do not go down. He does, however, get the full lure of the Clan Castle troops. And with the connection of the heroes, let's see which approach he's going in. Looks like he's going to make his way into the Scattershot multi-compartment that will give access to help pick off the Queen and the defending RC once in there.
Can nicely take down the defending Latherhound down this area, just cruise on through that, and then the Archer Queen has that clear path, like you mentioned, already now setting up the funnel over to the right-hand side of the screen, just so that when the Archer Queen gets over towards that compartment, she can indeed break in. With the Royal Champion diving in to try and take down these areas. Let's hope the enemy Queen doesn't get too close. She does! Oh, that's unfortunate for Ariam, but the RC actually takes her out and does him a favor in the end.
Yeah, that's going to leave a lot less pressure on the Queen, who can now help try and pick off the Royal Champion. But even if he doesn't, he's got the 3 headhunters as a failsafe in this one. Look at the Yak going, opening up the passage to the Eagle. King's not in the best position, but if he can open up the corner compartment, can lead the Queen through. But Ariam is not leaving it to risk, going in with a Lalo, keeping the momentum moving forward. And this is huge, Judo, because he is tanking for the scatter shot as well. And this Queen's going to pick up insane value.
That is the most amazing Yak usage I have ever seen, breaking the heroes in and then helping take down the scatter shot. I want that Yak on my village, that is for sure, because now the balloons have got an easy ride. He still has the Warden ability for the back end of the base, even more balloons, the Queen ability, the freeze. He's got everything here. Varley's attack might have been impressive, but this is equally as good, as Ariam pretty much did not lose a single balloon in that attack and makes sure to keep the 3 stars coming for MCES.
I love the Queen wandering inside that base saying, oh, hey guys, you got it covered. I'm good from here. Didn't even need to use the ability. I mean, we weren't sure if he was able to get exactly what he wanted out of it, but quickly with the Royal Champion, just powered through. And yeah, that Yak doing some extra favors there. Beautiful, superb work from Ariam, but we expect no less. Also expecting no less, let's see what Ast has in store as he brings in the Zap Inferno Drag Rider, though that one lightning spell, I think we can still call it a Zap, knocks out the Air Sweeper, which is very critical when you're doing these drag attacks, Inferno drag attacks, to eliminate a resistance and pushback, particularly when you have all these multis to worry about in the center.
Absolutely, and you can see the heroes diving into that bottom area. He's actually used 2 wall breakers to try and allow the Queen pathing in towards the next scatter shot and the Queen. He's actually done so, but he's struggling over in that area, having to freeze the scatter shot. Queen caught on the outside, and he still has not got it. The Dragon Riders will move on in, but they've moved away from the core pack of Inferno Dragons. This is crucial, as the Inferno Dragons now in the center of the base, taking a lot of damage. Are they going to have enough to get through here?
He still has a Royal Champion. He's going to have to play his cards right with this Skelly spell, because he's still got the back end scatter to worry about. The Inferno Drags managed to path around the Poison Bomb, which is, oh, I say that. One goes right in low health, which means there's limited coverage for this Royal Champ, who now takes the lead. Lastly, the only thing keeping in the front line of the defenses and herself and this Tornado Trap, allowing the multi to continuously pick away. Drops that Skelly spell to distract, freezes up the Queen, tries to get as many defenses as possible down before the Queen can take her out. But there is unfortunately no hope left for her, and Judo, these Inferno Drags don't stand a chance with what remains.
Really unfortunate that the Expo locked onto the Royal Champion there and never looked back, just taking her down easily. And Ast did all he could with the spells towards the end, but that compartment on the 9 o'clock area really did him over here. It's not the percentage attack we expected from Alternate. This is looking good for MCES. Remember, despite Penta's victory earlier, if MCES win here, they are qualified into the final. And then it comes down to whether Tribe can win their next war to make sure they get through.
And ATN definitely secure, so I'm sure this isn't going to hurt them too much in their feelings at all, because they know they're that top dog, number one spot. They know what they've been able to do, but again, it's bragging rights here for ATN on this because it's MCES. They want to always come in as top dog against them. We'll see if the defenses are there for them. ATN is known for their base building team, but we've not yet seen that connect for them. A lot of times we are seeing these teams come in with the hits early on that they're most secure with to build up the momentum and leaving the attacks that they're less secure about for the tail end. I don't know if that's going to be the case for MCES because we still have Synthé up to hit, and he's usually pretty confident in his attacks.
I will say he normally takes quite a few risks though, doesn't he? And here he is. It's actually the Zap Hydra, so not quite as risky as some of the attack strategies we've seen him used. Maybe he's dialed back the creativity a little bit for this one, make sure he goes with more of a reliable strategy, but let's hope that is actually the case, as since he's waiting here, it makes me think he's allowing the Queen to get around to a certain path, but no, he's not. He's actually going up top where the scatter shot is alongside the RC, but scattershot standing. What did he take there?
We don't get a full connection, and that scatter shot is hanging on by a thread, which is unfortunate because that was the goal there. We'll see as he brings in the heroes to work along and try and adjust. The Royal Champ will pick it off, but likely wanted a deeper dive inside the base because we do worry about these multis. And the blimp is going to have to secure the town hall, so it can't really force its way into the center of the base.
I'm trying to think of what he got. I mean, presuming it was an Expo that he managed to take down, just counting them on the base. But yeah, he definitely wanted that scatter shot as well. Maybe just miscalculated rotating the lightning spells around. The Royal Champion has been able to take it out alongside that air defense at the top, so it's not looking too bad here in terms of the attack, as the Archer Queen also breaks down to the multi, takes that down, and he's basically still got pretty good pathing for the dragons here and the battle blimp to move right on through.
Oh, we do have the Headhunters coming out. Dragons taking the lead, though, need to swiftly knock it out along with the Electro Owl so he can reserve this Warden ability. He is able to quickly take them down. Blimp coming through. This has got to be timed just right to get the Blimp in place. There are no storages really to worry about. Pretty far away here, so a safe push to secure the Town Hall despite the traps that pick up. And he does manage to get to the multi in the center of the base. This was the worrisome part because this is where we typically see the traps. Drags spread around, getting pushed back, but are still able to take it on. The problem here is this Hound in the center.
Still got a Dragon Rider left over. There it comes down to the bottom area of the base where the Tesla are. Hopefully that means it can focus the fire of the central Dragon Rider to the air defense. Oh, but it's got no health. Oh, it's down. And there we go. Everything is spread around. Can they clump around this air defense and take it down? The Owl can deal with that Hound all at once as long as the Dragons concentrate their fire down to the bottom. 15 percentage points, 40 seconds, but the air defense really doing work, and with a storage now that the regular Dragons would have to get through. It is indeed going to be the defense. It's a higher percentage than alternate, but it's definitely not what MCES wanted here.
Oh, and the Hound just about to pop. Gonna add a little insult to injury, but the Drags will pick up that percentage down at the bottom. It's a good spot for them to be in. And some easy cleanup here before the Hounds distract their focus to take this down. 92%, not a bad way to finish this one off, considering he did not get the full value of his Zapquake from the start. And as you mentioned, this is going to leave them pretty secure. ATN's defenses are showing up, but at this point, they're going to need a little bit more.
Maybe a little bit of nerves showing there from MCES. Synthé does like to do the Skelly Donut method, and he does like to do very complex Skelly Donut methods as well. And you really need picture-perfect tile placement when you do that. So it surprised me that he missed a lightning spell there. However, it does allow Linnaeus to capitalize on this. We know how good he has been with this Queen Charge Dragon Rider. It's kind of give him a new lease of life, I feel, since he's temporarily came out of retirement to join ATN again for this tournament. Always proficient with the Queen Charge Hybrid, and I feel this has allowed him to transition well into this new meta, utilizing the Queen Charge.
It definitely has. It's a nice breath of fresh air for Linnaeus, and I think for all of us to get to see him coming back with his confidence and showcasing his beautiful Queen Charges at that for it. As you can see, works his way through into that Eagle compartment, helping to navigate the path for the Queen. This is very important here because we need to keep this Queen moving along. But I notice he has a blimp, which would be likely to secure the Town Hall in most cases. Though you can also use this in the center of the base. It all depends on what he is bringing inside it. So he can pick up value either way with the jump for the Queen by working into the core or going to the Town Hall. But I think she could have a lot of value just shaping up a narrowed out path by going for the scatter shot. We'll have to see what he's got in mind.
I wonder if he's waiting to... Yeah, he switched it to the Stone Slammer, which it surprised me he switched it that early, because what I was going to say, it's a little bit tricky to see exactly where the Queen is going to focus her fire quickly in a timely manner in the center of the base here. So I did wonder whether he was going to switch and use the blimp as a, finish the Town Hall quicker and get that done, but he's not. He's going all out here. He feels the Queen is safe, using the Stone Slammer to help push for the 3 stars. And there is the jump spell, allowing her access not towards the scatter shot in the middle, but she will tank it as the Dragon Riders close on in.
And that Stone Slammer keeping the funnel narrow, which is exactly what you want to see. And he's yet to actually drop the Royal Champion, though. You can see a little bit of a spread out, a couple of Drag Riders down at the bottom side of the base from the Stone Slammer here. Royal Champion coming through, trying to capitalize off of that, allowing her passage in and cleaning up just more for these Drag Riders. But can she get through quick enough to help take on the Wizard Tower and the AD before they make their way there? She definitely can, but no, ability just tossing off. And man, this one is knocked out of the park. Linnaeus has come back, like you said, with this new lease of life with the Queen Charge Drag Rider, and always showcasing its power.
The Queen charged so much destruction, and she's back up in full health. He doesn't have to worry about her healing. He could go right out into a multiplayer attack if he wishes. Beautiful job. There's nothing else to say. The multi-target Infernos, as dangerous as they are, they always just get crushed with Dragon Riders. You get one of them into that area without any other defenses around it, and you've seen down to the southern section how much the Dragon Riders help the Royal Champion to cruise on through, and we're all tied up on stars. MCES, with the pressure now back on, they've lost that little lead they had, and they need to flip this around because you only tend to get one chance with alternate attacks. So Kingsman using the hybrid here, interestingly, try and get that 3.
I like that MCS aren't playing quite as risky as we saw them against Tribe Gaming. We're not seeing any of those no-spell Lalos because they know what's on the line at this point for themselves. So definitely not taking those big risks. Kingsman coming in straight to clear up the pathing towards the Town Hall now because we have the hybrid coming in. We do want to clean that up. We want to give this access, though. We, on occasion, get to see the hybrids rocking their way through into the Town Hall compartment. Does not look like that's going to be the case here as he starts opening up the sections for the Queen, which is not only going to give her access to the Town Hall, but she can push a little bit further through. I'm curious to see if he's going to rock her up towards the scatter shot or try and push her along deeper inside the space. But either way, we are starting to really shape up what's needed, and the patience is paying off to wrap this Queen around.
I really like this approach that we see quite a lot now, walking the queen around the town hall and then in towards it, because basically what it means is the queen is now not drawn through the town hall. There's nothing over there because she's already taken it out, so she doesn't necessarily step into that Giga Poison, and it's just a nice way of avoiding it. As we see the King and Siege Barracks over to that other side of the base, setting up for the hybrid. Getting flashbacks of Town Hall 13 meta here, Lady B, as it charges on through. But we do have quite a spread out area of splash here and only 2 heal spells to help him through.
Not even flinching with that queen, taking on damage, allowing her to reserve the ability, still able to work her way through. She's going to have to beat her way through the wall, but she's there, and she did a lot of value in the tanking for that scatter shot to give the initial push for the hybrid to come through. We don't have any more heal spells left, unfortunately, once we get out of this compartment, but we do have 2 freezes to hold off the splash damage.
The owl chain through the multi at the top, which helped the queen massively, eliminated damage. With that freeze spell on the scatter shot, Hog Rider's still to the outside though. 30 seconds, he's got the queen ability, but can she get through the wall into that compartment quick enough? Maybe the Yak can do them a favor here again, Lady B.
Oh, one hug and a dream works his way in, and here's the reinforcement. Only 22 seconds left to go. They know it takes a village to take that down, and those hogs are going for it, allowing the king, the queen, to pick up the cleanup, but they still need to get through this gold storage. 10 seconds left. There has been damage on it. 6 seconds. Yak's coming in, and Kingsman nails the 3-star just near the buzzer. Huge
Everything
turnaround.
going right for him at the end. Those Hog Riders, definitely the MVP of the matchup. I think those were Clan Castle Hog Riders that came out of the Siege Barracks late as well. So super impressive attack. Always good to see strategies that aren't quite in the meta being used successfully, and MCES doing what they need to do. They have that higher percentage, so it is still in their hands at this point. If they continue to 3-star, they secure their spot into the finals.
Yeah, they are giving it their all today. Again, no risks today, but still coming in with some beautiful hits. And Yo-Yo coming in with something that we don't often get to see him doing that much anymore. As the Queen charge Lalo, opening up the path, leading straight to the Town Hall. Queen has easy funnel access here and securely working along, taking a little bit of damage, but he's taking his time on this one. Gets that wall break in, and this will force her moving through. But we've got 3 more super wall breakers, which means we can pick up more value for the king in some of the outlying compartments. We've got scatter shots. We've got multis that we want to consider taking down here and continue to push a massive punch on defenses. But the king's going for the wall. We've got the wall open for the scatter shot compartment.
Yeah, the wizard was just too late, wasn't it? The king is gone. Now, by having that compartment open by the scatter shot, it does mean his next wall breaker, as you see there, can target through to in front of the queen, and then he still has another to get the queen towards that multi, but he has had to change things up, send the stone slammer into this compartment, and I don't think it's too big of an adjustment here, honestly. He should be able to take that down relatively easily, as long as he was intending on sending the lava loon from this area with it, which it looks like he was. So all not lost here for Yo-Yo, but the tornado trap definitely not helping him out, as the Archer Queen's still doing work on the balloons, and there is a pack of them already down.
Oh, I was hoping to see that Stone Slammer go into the center of the base, help pick up the multi, particularly with that timing of the Warden's ability. But it doesn't make its way through, which means there's going to have to be a backtrack. He's got 1 haste just coming down now, an invisibility spell to try and hold these loons for the back end. Queen's still doing well. She's full health, but these loons are suffering through the core and not going to provide any support for her.
Well, she had that 1 healer until the Seeking Airmine had other ideas. She is now taking major damage. but can he still get this, Lady B? He has used that haste spell incredibly well to get the central multi. The dragon can try and get the royal champion with the minions. Is she going to go down? Oh, it's as if that came up right now, right in the most tense moment. Does he use the invisibility on the queen? He can't really use it on the dragon because it's onto the royal champion. It would turn the royal champion invisible. What has happened? Here we go. Grand Warden helping out. The royal champion does go down, and I think he's still going to get this. Can you? Oh, what's he doing with the invisibility?
Was this a disconnect? Please don't tell me this was a disconnect.
no.
The Warden, the Electro Owl trying to chain through. Get the job done.
Must have been.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
Oh, that is now going to mean that MCES have pretty much got this. Now, let's remind everybody, alternate attacks, they have secured their #1 spot. They won't be too upset about that. However, it's definitely not what you want. When you know you could have got that 3-star, MCES will be rubbing their hands right now, though, because they just need the high percentage 2-star in order to secure this. And then alternate couldn't catch up, and this solidifies their spot to the final. They get that extra win over Penta, and it then comes down to the next matchup as to whether it's Tribe or Penta joining alternate, Tompenai, and MCES in the finals.
Yeah, this is it's a tough go for ATN on that one. You have to have your heart bleed out for these disconnects when they happen, especially when an invisibility spell could have made that huge difference. And this, unfortunately, is the second time it's happened for ATN, I want to say this past week or so, with these disconnects making a difference in their war status. But yeah, it's a tough go when this happens. But ATN will still truck on, still in a great spot. It just means MCES is that much more closer to securing this position for themselves. But again, they need to keep on their toes. We don't want to see any 1-stars coming through. You can't just let your guard down because you think you're almost there.
Absolutely. And we have, I don't want to necessarily talk about it, but we have seen that, haven't we? In the challenge where a safe 2-star was needed and a 1-star did come through. So Tryhard will be, feeling relatively confident with the Blizzard Dragons, because the Blizzard is obviously intended to get the Town Hall early on. That gives him the 1st star. Was he late on the invisibility there? I think the scatter got a shot off.
Oh.
It did. Oh my gosh, Tryhard. Oh no.
Now, the good thing, okay, we talked about this, Judo. We said we don't want to go for the 1-star. This is all about correction at this point. They need to get this town hall down. They need to refocus the plan. But the bigger thing is getting that high percentage. And could this be the small opening for Tribe to turn it back around? It's all going to depend on how Tryhard can adjust. But he is forcing both of these heroes to come in. King taking the lead, gets the clan castle lure, and has to use, he holds on to those invisibility spells at very least to use for the heroes.
I mean, at least it does help him out in that regard. He's got the Town Hall, but I think, like you rightly said, it's all the percentages. Oh, he missed the single Inferno. Nothing going right here for him. He is sending the dragons in from this area, but you never know when that might beam up and how the pathing is going to get to that easily as it gets repaired as well. He didn't want to put any spell investment on the Queen because he needs the spells for his dragons if he's going to get that high percentage. But look at the single. It's already taken out a Dragon Rider. That is 25 troop capacity gone because of that. Now, what can he do here? He's got a minute 13. So the thing that worries me is even if he has the power, he doesn't have any rage spells. He's only got an invisibility. How much percentage will he get through this base? I don't know if it's going to be enough.
It doesn't look like it. The drag's pathing straight through the center. The Royal Champ trying to help out on the outskirts. And the pathing through the center isn't a terrible thing, though. The Warden ability was used early. Potential traps here, which will knock out the dragons, especially as that Eagle continues to fire away. And the Royal Champ has some opportunity to start taking shots against them. And look at this. One dragon left, it looks like, in the center of this base. Maybe two. but they're down for the count. This is the percentage that ATN was looking to see come in if they can turn around for a 3-star.
That would mean alternate take this. They get an even better lead towards the top. But looking at the star count overall, Lady B, I think that MCES are still going to be qualified here. They have more stars than Penta overall. So I believe MCES, even if alternate get the 3-star here, will probably just sneak into the finals on total stars earned across the entire challenge.
Yeah, they've held up really well against this, and I always want to commend the recoveries on this, because we do talk about these high pressure situations that you have to go for the safe 2-star, but sometimes it's not going to happen, you know, and often in these high pressure situations, they don't happen. If you're using something like a blizzard, that's probably one of the toughest things to try and get done in that situation. But he handles it like a champ, handles it like a pro, gets the job done, and secures the stars, as you mentioned, rightfully, which will matter. Now, Boom with the opportunity to pick up the 3-star, turn this one just a little bit further back around, and coming in with the Queen Charge Drag Rider as well. We're seeing ATN taking a huge liking to it, with this
his
being
queen's
the
gone!
3rd attack. Oh no!
What?
Where did the queen go?
She took so much damage. The ground bows, the Royal Champion. I thought Boom was going to have that covered, but she went down, just didn't get the spells in quick enough. He had the rage, but he needed something else. With the Royal Champion now trying to steal the healers and get any type of value, this is another major recovery in the works, and let's remember, Boom would have to get the 3-star to win this war for alternate attacks. And this means that if MCES win, they've got the victory in terms of total wins over Penta. They wouldn't even have to have more stars overall. But Boom's actually done a pretty good job here, Lady B, in switching things to his Royal Champion and getting the Dragon Riders in pretty quick.
He really has, though the healers suffer from the poison bomb. The Royal Champion is at perfect health in the center of the base, trying to keep this navigating through. We do have the blimp that switched up to the Stone Slammer to come in for the 12 o'clock side. Drag Riders on the back end helping this one out. Now, we're going to have to pay close mind as the Drag Riders get through the scatter shot and come towards the Wizard Tower with the multi-beams firing away at them, because they are really low health, and I don't know that he's going to have enough steam, despite a beautiful recovery, to bring it to a 3-star.
You have to say that was a beautiful recovery. I mean, look at the percentage. And he's not even done. He's got a lot of buildings to clean up. For the fact that his queen went down at the very start, not even the middle of the queen charge, it was right at the start of the walk, basically, and he still managed to get the 2-star and upwards towards the 70%. Wallbreaker even taking out the Royal Champion statue there. Beautiful job by Boom, doing whatever he can at this stage. But it is going to mean that MCES get the victory overall in the tournament. That moves them to 9 victories, and it means they have more wins than Penta. But interestingly, Lady B, it actually means that MCES have climbed up into 3rd position. So Tribe are now in 4th. Tribe not safe either, but it does mean that they would also be in 4th seed and would have to face alternate attacks in the finals. So the next matchup with Tribe is going to be super important as to if they can qualify and if they can overtake MCES. But there we have it. MCES getting the victory, securing their spot in the finals. And what an intense matchup that one was.
It's exactly the intensity we expect, and we almost always see between these two teams. MCES able to knock this one out, claim their spot, and do some phenomenal work. What a great turnaround. And I mean, they kept it exciting till the end. I don't know if they'll see it that way, but for us at watching, we definitely love these quick spins.
We certainly do, and can you believe there is one match left in the challenge, and we still do not know the top 4. Is Tribe going to make it? Let's find out after the break as they face off against Repotted Gaming.
ESL Mobile Challenge is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the ESL Mobile Challenge. It's the final play day and it's the final war to end all wars here before we go to the ESL Mobile Challenge finals in just over a week's time. I am Lethal. Joining me is Judo once again. And you know what? Couldn't have been a better way to pan this out for the final play day. We don't want any boring matches or anyone where they've already relegated or already qualified. So we've got Tribe Gaming versus Repotted Gaming, and just let everyone know at home that if Tribe Gaming do win this matchup, that means they have straight up qualified and Penta are sadly going to be out of the competition. But if Repotted Gaming defeat Tribe, then it will come down to stars between Tribe Gaming and Penta. Now, it was between MCES as well, but MCES took down alternate attacks, which a little bit of an upset there earlier on from what we saw. Definitely a lot of ups and downs, a lot of emotions, I'm sure, going around from both the squads, considering what we saw. Absolutely crazy, but banter aside, we saw alternate attacks that get taken down by MCS, which means MCES will be qualified, and it's all up to Triumph Gaming to defeat Repotted Gaming, or if they lose, then it'll come down to stars between Penta and Tribe.
It certainly will. So what a matchup this is. Penta will be watching very closely. And there's almost two things here, Lethal, for Tribe. Firstly, they have to obviously just get the victory to secure that they win in 4th position. But also remember, MCES getting that victory means they are 1 victory ahead of Tribe. And this means that if Tribe win and they go level, it then comes down to the wins and the stars, as we've kept mentioning, as to who goes in 3rd and 4th seed. So for Tribe, they need to win, but they need to put up the biggest star count so that hopefully they can actually not only qualify, but leapfrog MCES into that 3rd seed and make sure that MCES go in 4th, having to play the number 1 seed.
That's right, and because we've been speaking about this earlier on, it was a little bit more complex for some people at home, obviously, if they're just tuning in as well, but it's a lot more simplified in comparison to the beginning of the show. It's basically 3 of the spots have already been covered. It's only up to Tribe Gaming or Penta to take this 4th and final spot. But the problem is they've both already defeated each other, because in terms of tiebreaker, it does go by head-to-head matchup results. They've both defeated each other once, so that's out of the question. Of course, total match wins in a phase is exactly the same. So then it will go to total stars count overall in the matches. And if it goes even further than that, but of course it's destruction percentage, and then it's the most 3-star attacks afterwards. So, but it's super unlikely we'll get that far. But then again, it has gone to match stars, so you never know at this point. But this is Tribe Gaming, where we're going to see if they can just scrap all that, help League Ops not have to do too much work and then just be able to secure that W. But if not, though, there's going to be a bit of work in the background so we can confirm exactly who is going to qualify for that 4th and final spot. But we'll see if Repotted Gaming can change all that in this final war. But Repotted Gaming have, had some good performances so far in the ESL Mobile Challenge. Sadly, but they've got nothing to lose, nothing to gain in this match apart from pride and bragging rights. But Tribe Gaming just looking to try and secure this as safely and as quickly as possible.
Now let's remember, Lethal, we talked about Repotted yesterday. They deserve a lot of credit for this because they came into this tournament not really thinking they would qualify through ladder. They obviously did in ladder 2. We got to see them in the play-ins. They put up an incredible performance winning that. And, we interviewed their team captain, who was shocked as to how well they had done. They just entered this tournament for fun, and the fact that they have came all of the way through the challenge as well and pretty much just missed out, they deserve a lot of credit, and they will be looking to assure that they are a team in everybody's minds moving forward in different tournaments. Beating Tribe Gaming at the end here, potentially meaning they don't qualify, is one of the things that they can add to their CV.
Do you know what's funny, actually? I said the exact same thing in their previous war earlier on. I said that Repotted Gaming, I'm very excited to see how their competitive Clash of Clans career ends up after this event and then going forward to try and qualify for any other competitions in the future. Just very interested to see how things will pan out for them over the course of 2021. But we're just starting things off with that Warden on that right compartment. Most of it's been taken out. The Peckers and the Ice Golem there. Ice Golem looking to tank that damage to give a little bit of breathing room here for those Peckers, pushing in towards that scanner shot and the Expo there as well.
Interesting use of the log launcher here. We don't always see that alongside the P.E.K.K.A Smash. We often see the Battle Blimp for a little bit of security, just assuring that they get through to the Town Hall. But Exorcist obviously feeling like opening the compartments with the log launcher will give him better value. Should also be able to get a little bit of damage onto the Town Hall. But one of the dangers is that you can see it's already been activated. He's actually charging directly into it, so he's got to be careful here and make sure the P.E.K.K.A can get out of the Giga Poison quick enough.
See that Tesla farm cropping up on that 8 o'clock side, and already the Queen's still pushing in there. The Spurs have run out, but he's still got one more rage spell to use if things get a little bit pear-shaped, which it pretty much has, as already the push still going to continue on forward into the center and trying to take out as much as they possibly can. You can see the Queen still dealing with that wizard tower, and you've got the cannon and a few Teslas down south as well, but I don't think she'll be able to survive long enough. No, she will not, but the RC definitely will, though, charging on in towards the southern side, taking out that archer tower and trying to take out whatever is left. Just those few Teslas and the cannon. The Yak is somehow still alive, considering it's actually been on the front line, using the invisibility spell as well, just for the giggles there. And you can see there's only some structure stuff. I don't think there's anything else on the map. It's just these in terms of the percentage from what we see. 178. Yeah, that is going to be the full 3-star 100%. And with 30 seconds left, the RC with the movement spin. That's going to be perfectly fine. It's going to be all good in the world here, Judo, as Exorcist will get the first 3 stars, paving the way for Tribe Gaming in this war.
Even managed to protect the Yak so that it did not go down with that invisibility, like you said. Beautiful stuff. And that is exactly how they meant to start off. Like we said, they need to win this. They need to put as many stars on the board as possible so that they can hopefully catch MCES. Because for anybody that is looking forward to the challenge finals, basically the number 1 seed, that is Alternate Attacks, will play the number 4th seed in the first part of the bracket, and the number 2 and 3 seed will play each other. So clearly, Tribe will be wanting to catch MCES, so hopefully they're not going up against Alternate in that first matchup.
Yeah, you know, we do normally say it's pick your poison for Alternate Attacks to depend on who they play against, because both MCES and Tribe are very, very strong indeed. But of course, up to this point, neither team wants to play against Alternate Attacks either, so they're doing their absolute best to get this 2nd or 3rd seed, probably the 3rd seed, of course.
I think the interesting thing is Tribe have lost to Alternate Attacks twice, but they've actually beaten Tompenai Empire twice. So if they get that 3rd place seed and they go up against Tompenai Empire, they can feel a little bit confident at actually getting that victory, versus they would have to get over the mindset of beating Alternate when they've lost to them twice. But we're definitely speculating a lot in terms of this, and we can find that out after this matchup, as Repotted, trying to equal out the stars, has managed to start the Queen charge pretty nicely, getting that Town Hall as well with the addition of the Battle Blimp. The Barbarian King, though, Lethal, has walked around the outside of the base, so he's not been able to get the scatter shot in that 9 o'clock area, having to send the Royal Champion in now quickly to try and adapt to take that area out whilst the King was still tanking.
Yeah, I think he was trying to create a funnel, but just a little bit too late, so the RC now is going to be able to cover nonetheless, unless that was originally planned. But the Eagle Artillery, you can see focusing on Bad King, but won't get a huge amount of value out of it, as not really too much has been taken down there, even though the King has cleaned up a while ago. The Eagle Artillery now just focusing on that 1 moon. So do you know what? It's been okay so far, as the Queen still going into that left-hand side compartment. I'm glad you were thinking the same. You was also questioning like why the Queen's actually gone into that side, but we'll see as the raid spell comes down to now try and take out not only the defensive Queen, but of course try and prioritize the defenses in that southern compartment to help the Loons a little bit pushing from the southern side.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the justification of not putting the jump spell in earlier and basically wasting 10 seconds of time for the Archer Queen to walk back around, because he could have cleaned up those buildings with a couple of minions. Not sure, depending on, I'd have to watch back where the Archer Queen was standing specifically, but I feel that might have been a little bit of an error, to be honest with you, because he's only got 50 seconds. Lava Loon does tend to be a little bit of a fast attack. It's one that can finish off a base very quickly. He's really got to hope he can do that. He's got a good split on the balloons, taking down the scatter shot. Not a huge amount of defenses left, and he's still got the Queen's ability. Balloons now in the tornado trap, though. 30 seconds, and it's still too close to call. 24 seconds. The balloons move on in. I think he should probably be able to get this. As the balloons get towards that battle builder hut, the Archer Queen is indeed going to be able to use that ability. And there we go, a couple of spells onto Tribe Gaming's Clan Castle, just to add a little bit of swag towards the end of it. Make sure that Tribe know they're not getting the victory too easily here. 3 stars apiece after the first attack.
Yeah, still trying to separate these two. It's only the first attack so far, so not really too much of a surprise. We know what Repotted Gaming are like. And, talking about before what you said, it is a little bit of a surprise. They were, doing their absolute best on ladder just to kind of test the waters a little bit. But this is a good thing about the ESL Mobile Open. It's the fact that at the very beginning, the ladder is the whole purpose of it is just to test to see how good you may be or could well be compared to a lot of these other top tier teams trying to make it through. And Repotted Gaming are one of these very, very few teams, the rarity in terms of their caliber skill to actually be able to turn around and go, well, do you know what? We can keep up with the best of the best. We can do our absolute best as well to make sure we can keep this as competitive as possible. And do you know what? They definitely want to be the shockers of the tournament in terms of how well they've established themselves here in the Clash of Clans scene, especially in the ESL Mobile Challenge. And they were thinking they were just going to make it into the Open, maybe the Plains, and that's about it. But the fact they've made it this far and weren't really too far off actually qualifying for the finals either is going to give them that hunger to try and qualify for the top 4 next time round. But to start things off, we have got the E-Drag and that Inferno Dragon on the northern side, but Loons are coming up with the Drag Riders straight away, and this is a very quick attack once again from Nebrax here.
The chain value of that E-Dragon is one of the best I have seen for a very long time. It took out so many defenses up top, and it is still going. The funneling it created is fantastic, and we have seen Nebrax use the Inferno Dragons in combination with the Dragon Riders a couple of times. One of those earlier today, getting the 3 stars, and he seems to be developing a little bit of a specialty with this attack as they clump through the middle of the base. Battle Blimp gets to the Town Hall, down it goes, and he's still got a bunch of spells to use on the back end of the base, and the Royal Champion not even deployed yet, Lethal.
I was just about to say that as well, as the Queen still heading down south and these Inferno Dragons still pushing towards that southern compartment with the Dragon Rider and that Warden. But speaking of the RC, finally makes an appearance, a little bit late to the party. We'll be taking down the cannon and the Tesla's Bear, but still got to deal with that multi-Inferno tower in that compartment as well. But that shouldn't really be an issue. The issue would normally be time in this retrospect, but let's be honest, with 90 seconds left to go, he's got absolutely zero worries at this point. Still got 3 of those heroes up as well, having to deal with everything else. And you can see it's only the AD, the X-Bow, the cannon. It's used a free spell anyway, but let's be honest, it's not required. Pushing on up, and I must say that was a very fast attack from Nebrax, but I love how methodical it was right at the very beginning with that E-Drag and the Inferno Dragon as well. Like I said, that chain reaction with the damage done with that attack was just phenomenal. We couldn't get any more value even if he tried, and that was very quick and very well progressed there from Nebrax.
Absolutely. The Inferno Dragons is a quick attack, and the reason for that is you don't need an extensive queen charge in order to set it up like we see in a lot of the other attacks. Just a little bit of funneling either side, get the Inferno Dragons in, and you've seen how successful that can be. We now have Timtastic hoping to keep the 100 across that right-hand side. Doesn't that look beautiful on the scoreboard? Let's see if Repotted can keep the pressure on Tribe. We know that this match means everything for them.
It certainly does indeed, and it's going to be wonderful for him to try and continue the triples for Repotted Gaming, and is already doing a nice amount of damage here with these spells and just making sure he can do as much as he possibly can with this value. And I must say that was a lot more than I actually originally anticipated here. And he's doing a huge amount to the King as well, so we can see what's going to happen next with this next bulk of the attack. The King's going to come out on that 3 o'clock side to start creating that funnel. The Queen is there as well and will be tagging along momentarily. Already a great funnel here, just the Queen making sure to take down this Wizard Tower and that cannon going forward. But yeah, I must say, at the very beginning, very good start from Timtastic.
Yeah, very, very good here. And I have to say, I love the technique of the Super Wall Breaker within the Battle Blimp there as well, or presume that's actually what he had, because the wall just busted open, allowed the super wizards to chain through both compartments. You can see the pathing it has created for the heroes to dive into this most northern one, take the town hall, looking to strip anything else they can from this area before the Dragon Riders move in. Used the invisibility a little bit late there, but he's managed to protect the queen, and I think that's just to help her get through the Clan Castle super minions, because that could be a little bit devastating, and he would need to have the owl or the minions clean those up.
Certainly will indeed, as the Drag Riders now coming out to play along with the RCN ward in there. The Loon's trying to defend as best as possible. First priority is going to be that Eagle artillery, then the AD straight afterwards. And already the race field does come in, so there's going to help create a path to make sure that these units can get as deep and far as possible. But you've got to deal with those two Inferno Towers in the center. And when even then, you still got the AD on the 9 o'clock and the Scatter Shot and with the Expert. So still a fair amount of defense to kind of chop down here as the units will be continuing to progress further. Most of the Loons, or all the Loons, have gone now, but it's just the Dragon Riders he needs to try and deal with, as Kronos doing the best of his ability. But even with these raid spells, the Dragon Riders trying to push on further, but there may just be too much DPS. But then again, you can see on the northern side that other Dragon Riders also going to get taken down. And there's not really much left here for Kronos to defend against.
It's just the Archer Queen that he hasn't been able to get through. Basically, sending the Royal Champion in to take care of the super minions left her vulnerable. She got locked onto by the grounded Expo and could not get out of the way of the enemy Queen. He actually used a freeze spell to freeze her, but it was a little bit late. The Royal Champion had already gone down at that stage, and with the defending Queen, she has just battered the Dragon Riders. As you see, she is not stopping either, with the final moments of the battle still popping them away 90%. And if that little thing had have been different, the enemy Queen going down might have been the 3-star, but let's be real, Tribe Gaming are very happy with that defense.
Yep, if you're a Tribe Gaming fan, I think you should be very happy indeed. 2 triples back-to-back, Repotted Gaming with the first slip-up so far. Second attack being 90%, still a good percentile nonetheless, but they don't want to lose to a perfect war, and knowing that one attack has pretty much cost them here. But Repotted Gaming haven't got anything to lose or anything to gain here. You guys got to remember that at home, is Tribe Gaming got everything to lose here. It could be, you know, if they do even qualify here at the ESL Mobile Challenge Finals, they want to have the easiest path possible. A lot of people may say, well, do you know what, you have to beat everyone in order to win the whole thing anyway, but it's a bit of a difference there. It's a big factor. It's the fact that you don't want to start off against alternate attacks if you're one of those teams who takes a little bit of time to get themselves going in the bracket rather than having to start straight away, because you've got to remember that alternate attacks have a very, very high level of consistency in the competitive scene, and it's very, very difficult to play against a team like that straight, especially in the first series of that finals, which is why some of these teams are trying to avoid that in terms of their seeding. But now though, Maxi from Tribe Gaming, obviously he's a man with a wealth of knowledge in the scene. He's going to be starting things off for this third attack for Tribe Gaming, making a start in that 3 o'clock compartment with the Queen, making sure that Scatter Shot does get taken down, and of course anything else there just to make sure it's all cleaned up nicely, especially with that raid spell as well. A little bit of an issue there, but the push is going to continue on forward, and we can see what he can do here, pushing on up.
We did see Eve Maxi opening the war versus Penta early on today with this attack strategy. It was a beautiful 3-star as well. Pretty much had a bunch of things left over at the end. So we know he can get this one done, and this would lead Tribe into a very good spot. Look at that wall breaker down to the bottom as well, Lethal. The double wall break allowing the King in towards the Eagle. And I mentioned this in the last war, but what it also does... Oh, the Queen's taking a lot of damage here. What it also does is allow him to wall break in front of the Queen. There you go. The wall break has nowhere else to go now since the compartment is open next to the King. It's allowed the Queen upwards and in. Her ability is used, but I think he could have probably predicted it might have been used there anyway, because she came into a ton of damage. That is an interesting freeze on the Expo. I think he might have been wanting the King to take down the multi in the center. The Yak just about getting there and did not get it down as the Queen continues to drive forward towards that compartment. The traps continue to pop, but thankfully it is only red air bombs. Can the Queen get in towards the town hall here though, Lethal? It's getting close. He's turned them invisible.
Certainly has done indeed. A blimp makes into the centre, still going to push on forward towards that town hall. And the Dragon Rider's trying to follow suit. They're having to deal with the sweeper just a tad here, but the main focus is going to be that town hall. Does get taken down in the end, so good stuff from him. But the RC, you can see, just trying to stay alive and get as much value as possible. But look, it does get cleaned up at the left-hand side. 40 seconds left. There's pretty much nothing left at this point. That's going to be a real shame for Maxi. He had a decent start from what we saw so far, but as he pushed into the center, just took way too much damage. And that blimp, at least it managed to take down the town hall in the end. And you saw there, they had back-to-back triples in this war. And this is going to be the first slip up from them, which does mean it's going to give a massive, massive helping hand for Repotted Gaming. Earlier on, they didn't have, you know, the best in terms of their star, in terms of their star care, but in terms of percentile, it was in the early 90s. So this is definitely going to help him out ever so slightly. And it's all about Maxi getting the best percentage possible here as well. Hits 91%, but still just going to be too much HP. And there we have it. As Maxi sadly doesn't get that triple, but I was just trying to think from the top of my head what percentage Repotted Gaming had earlier on with their
90.
failed attack as well. Oh, so literally only 1 or 2% difference.
Yeah, it was 90%. Well, 99% positive it was 90%, if that makes sense. But 91% from Eve Maxi will indeed keep them in the lead on percentage. So they've still got that little bit of buffering room, if you will. A little bit unfortunate because his Dragon Riders basically had full health. And they beelined towards the Giga Poison, where obviously they stand no chance with an air defense behind that as well. Tribe Gaming will, I mean, they're not happy with that, but they are still in the lead and they just need to secure this victory to qualify. We keep mentioning they want to put the highest stars to try and beat MCES and get to third, but ultimately, you just need to qualify. It doesn't matter whether it's third or fourth. Qualifying is qualifying, so that will be their main aim here. But we've got Leon of Repotted Gaming using the hybrid. It is a strategy off meta, but we've seen it a couple of times in this tournament. And I'll be honest, though, it has actually been giving a lot of success. Normally, we've seen the Queen charge into the Town Hall, which is what we are seeing now, with the Siege Barracks and the King setting up the funnel. And the hybrid has actually done pretty good. It's all about getting value from the Queen charge.
Yeah, let's see how much value the Queen's going to get so far, pushing towards that Town Hall. Another Rage Spell comes down just to guarantee that challenge from, just for extra insurance purposes, as a couple of Expos now just trying to keep that Queen at bay, but still able to stay alive. But even then, though, how long for? And still got a lot to keep up with. Another spell does come down once again. And this is where things can get a little bit hairy, and I'm a little bit surprised there. The King also comes in as well as those Hog Riders. The one that's going to be trailing behind it. It's absolute madness so far from the start of Leon.
I just don't understand why he used the Queen ability. I don't know whether it was a mispress or he had an invisibility spell. He had a freeze. He could have done so much more than use the ability, and the Queen had half health. I really don't understand that play. I think it might have been a mistap, if I'm honest, because it left her so vulnerable, and without the Queen in such a pivotal attack, I just can't see this happening. Thankfully, she got the Town Hall majority of that area, but he really needed more than that because the hybrid is getting slaughtered in the middle of the base. We have bacon everywhere from these Hog Riders, and I just can't see them getting through 2 multi-target Infernos on the back end of the base.
Well, if you want a miracle, then yeah, sure. But yeah, you're absolutely spot on there. You've got the Eagle Artillery as well, which absolutely packs a wallet. You can see now just a handful of Hog Riders left and, you know, a few other bits, but that's going to be about it. 50 seconds left so far. But saying that, though, the Eagle Artillery does go down, but that Pekka's literally got next to no HP, unless you can say the Yak can deal with all of that, but absolutely no chances. A little bit of a shame for Leon, as he be having to take a 2-star there. Percentile will be checking out in just a very moment. It's still got to deal with that Expo there, still been a bit of a pain in the backside, but Must say, that's a little bit of a shame from Leon. And you were talking about earlier with the Queen using that ability earlier on. It was a little bit of chaos there on that northern compartment. A few of those rage spells were a bit preemptive, and I would say that could have been a little bit better positioned as well. It's a little bit of a surprise there. But he will get 83% in this 2-star attack. And now Tribe, they've got a second chance now to be able to walk away with this war.
They certainly have. And I mean, you've got to feel for Repotted there, wanting to go out on a high, but not quite happening. Tribe, though, like you said, in a good spot now. They just need to close it out in order to get the positioning. We keep mentioning about Tribe qualifying, but think about how Penta feel. They came in today with one match. They beat Tribe earlier on today to keep their hopes alive, and they know that Tribe need to lose this if they have any opportunity of winning by forcing it to go down to total stars. But Tribe, it doesn't look like they're going to let that happen.
Yeah, the worst bit is in this situation, Penta needs to rely on someone else to be able to take them down and give them a glimmer of hope to try and qualify. But the fact that they need to rely on a team where they're already knocked out and they've got nothing to gain, that just makes it even worse, really, because then you're going to be feeling a little bit more emotional, thinking, well, you know, hope for the love of God that Repotted Game and take this as, you know, as put in 110% to try and take down Tribe Gaming. And speaking of Tribe Gaming, it will be Kronos up next. They did witness that last attack from Repotted Gaming, now 1 star ahead currently, and Kronos want to try and help towards these back-to-back 3 stars in order to secure their spot, and obviously making a difference on that seeding as well, depending on stars. So you can see already just pushing into the center here with one of those loons as well, just going towards that scatter shot, just to actually help quite a lot, a little bit more help than I actually expected, considering they haven't found any traps and not really anything to stop these loons here. And it will be delayed just a little bit with the Queen having to deal with those lava pups and that southern side, but look forward to see how he's going to execute the bulk of this next attack.
Well, I will say Tribe have been on a little bit of a 14-star performance this week. They did get the victory yesterday over MCES with 14 stars. Despite them losing to Penta, they put up 14 stars, and they are on course to do that today. As long as Kronos 3 stars here, though, it does mean that pretty much they have got this one, as the Queen has beautifully charged towards that town hall. The tornado trap definitely not going to slow her down too much. He has used the spells just to make sure. Battle Blimp nicely got into the center. Oh my goodness, I nearly jinxed it as the Barbarian King distracted the Queen right at the end. So she did manage to get the town hall, but she's indeed took a lot of damage. Is it enough, though? He's kept the Dragon Riders alive, and he's holding on to the Royal Champion ability as long as possible.
And you know what? I don't blame him in the slightest here. Still got a minute left remaining, but in terms of defenses, there isn't really much about it, because it's going to be depending on if it's going to be a time fail or not, because he's still got the units to take out the rest of the defenses. It's only a couple of mortars and the Archer Tower down on that 9 o'clock side, but that's literally going to be about it. It's all about how spin up these units are going to be. But I'm not going to lie to you, Judo. It looks like it's going to be really, really good for Kronos. He's only got a small amount left, and everything's in between, and everything's just coming together, just pinched in the last of these structures. He should be very, very happy with that, especially keeping that Queen alive as she was jumping across into that 9 o'clock compartment. That was great stuff from him, and good use and value of the RC as well. So Kronos can be very pleased with that, and now they could just be 1 triple away from guaranteeing their spot.
Absolutely. It's still in their hands. Even if their defense holds up here, they probably won't need that triple, but they don't want to give that even the opportunity. They want to get the triple to guarantee it and also put as many stars up as possible. I mentioned their 14-star kind of streak that they've had going. That's pretty good in terms of 14 out of 15 stars. If it does come down to total stars in terms of who is actually in 3rd seed, surely Tribe must have finished off pretty strong and have a good opportunity of getting the 3rd seed. But it is Yanis hoping to create the upset here, keep the dream alive for Repotted in terms of just beating Tribe. Starting off with the Lightning in the center, did place it beautifully, getting an Inferno Tower and the Queen. He's got the Wall Break alongside the Ice Golem, protecting his King and Queen in towards this 9 o'clock compartment to get even more value and add to the pathing created.
Yeah, to the stars you were talking about earlier on, I think you could be right because a lot of the wins MCES got were actually like clutch wins or just been scraping at the bottom of the barrel, just managing to claw some of those wins back. So you could be right in terms of the star count. We'll definitely confirm that later on. This is another thing I'm excited for, to confirm who could be playing who at a later date. As you can see, the RC now just going into that next compartment in the 10 o'clock side, taking out that Inferno Tower and dealing the damage onto the Expos as well as it pops that ability. Will it be able to take out the Inferno Tower? Yes, it does. Very, very close, but it manages to in the end, as well as the 9 o'clock compartment also cleaned up as well.
Yeah, beautiful job there. But where does he start? He's got a Dragon Rider for the Eagle Artillery. But check it out, there's 2 seeking air mines, but it doesn't get the Dragon Rider. So the Dragon Rider survives and will indeed get going on that Eagle. Can you believe that? 2 seeking air mines. Eve Maxi must be kicking himself there as the Lava Loon map now moves on through, and you've got to give it to Repotted Gaming. No plan B here, wanting to send the Battle Blimp all of the way through to the Town Hall. If it misses it, it is all on the Lalo, and here it comes. What an ability momentarily as we've got the haste, and there it is. He's caught the balloons only just, but I think a lot of them ended up going down prior to the Warden ability.
Yeah, he's still got a couple of loons left as well. Still has one more haste if he needs it or wants to use it at this point. But look at how much has been cleared up already.
Getting it.
Everything is pretty much gone now. The Town Hall does get cleaned up, don't get me wrong. But, you know, it's all about percentage at this point. This is the second last attack from Repotted Gaming. Yeah, the pace... Sorry, I almost said paste it. The haste spell does come from that 2 o'clock side anyway. But even then, though, the percentile is all that matters. And 77%. This is not something Repotted want to try and bring this back, and Triumph Gaming, I'm sure that they're going to be extremely happy with how this has gone in terms of the defense from Maxi. That was a really well thought out base here from the base builder of Maxi. Very surprised of how much he's actually done against Yanis. And look what's left though. There's just way too much left. And, you know, the start was a little bit shaky, but the compartments were taken down by that RC earlier on and the Queen. But even then, though, there was a lot of loons left, and I must have missed exactly how the bulk or the main portion of those units were cleaned up on that right-hand side. It was looking pretty good at one point, but, you know, could have used one of those last haste spells a little bit sooner, but sadly he just could not find the, you know, the opening or exploit or the weakness he was looking for in order to use it, then push on up on those further compartments. It was a little bit of a shame, but 82%, that's going to be huge now coming for Tribe going into this last attack. But we're going to look at it so far. It looks like there's a 9% difference. This is looking very bad. So pretty much mathematically impossible at this point. Tribe only need 2 stars to absolutely guarantee and make sure they do win this war. I mean, of course, it will go to star count depending on seeding afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, even a very high percentage 1-star would probably get them this, because they've managed to claw themselves a good percentage lead to the point where Repotted just couldn't catch up, essentially. So a high percentage 1-star, but the 2-star is actually probably easier, I would say, to get. However, Tribe Gaming will have in the back of their mind that total star count, because it now looks like they are going to win, and they will be level on wins with MCES. As we mentioned, they beat each other, so it will come down to the wins, the stars, sorry. Tribe looking to finish with another 14-star war, but if nothing else, actually just assuring they've got that confidence moving into the final, because a lot of the other teams have been putting up big star counts as well. Tribe need to know they've got what it takes to take them out and also put the pressure on. It is indeed knowledge. That is finishing off here for Tribe Gaming. He did miss the 3-star in that war that we seen earlier on today. He was the one player that didn't get it. So can he make up for that and get them the victory, qualifying to the final?
Absolutely. Can he redeem himself here? As already, like Judo rightly said, even just a 1-star and a high percentage will absolutely do it. 9% difference overall from the last 4 attacks from both Repotted Gaming and Triumph Gaming, but all the drags, the drag riders and loons now coming in from that 10 o'clock side. Prime focus going to be that Eagle Artillery, and he's still got a couple of rage spells to use. He actually does drop the first one down, speaking of the devil, but look at the position of that spell. Every single unit be able to take advantage of that as much as possible. And we'll be using the next one momentarily as he's going to progress into the center, having to deal with multi-inferno tower. At least trying to do as much damage as possible, but at the same time, you can see the blimp coming in down to the south side to try and take down this town hall. It's going to be so important. But will he be able to? Actually prioritizes something else instead. But does he take down the town hall? Yes, he does. He's still with a little bit to spare as well. Not too sure about the 3-star as of yet. It's still that Inferno tower in that right compartment, still doing a huge amount of damage. But the RC is coming in from the 3 o'clock side as well. And we'll see how this goes for Knowledge.
I certainly think he can get this one, you know, with the Royal Champion ability. The Queen still has the ability. I want to pick up on that freeze spell. That was fantastic, because even though the battle blimp was pointing down to the south, it meant, or the air sweeper, sorry, it meant that once the battle blimp got past the sweeper, it could have pushed it over the top of the town hall and got him in a tricky situation. So using the freeze there was brilliant play. No doubt helped him to get this one. Knowledge did not just want to get the safe 2-star or the high percentage 1-star. What type of a player is he? 3 stars all day long, straight in there for the 14-star war. Make sure to give them the best possible finish here that they can have, and that has solidified Tribe into the finals. But we still don't know whether they are 3rd or 4th place seed. I guess we will find out after the war.
Certainly will indeed, as Repotted Gaming will lose this war, but they're already out anyway, so they didn't have a huge amount to gain or lose. All about pride and bragging rights, but sadly for them, they are already out in the competition. But so far, we will see the final attack from Repotted Gaming, and like you've already said, it looks like Tribe Gaming, to the very last war on the very last play day, they managed to secure their Spartans. That's how close it's been for the last few weeks. It's been absolute madness, carnage, and mayhem throughout a lot of these wars. But I still feel like, you know, Tribe may have the edge in terms of the star count for 3rd seed, just due to the fact that MCES did have a lot closer wars, just due to a lot of the bases in the first couple of weeks. But we'll confirm that later on. We're just going to see General X making his final appearance and the final attack here at the ESL Mobile Challenge, and to make sure it is a good one against Exorcist of Tribe Gaming.
The Electro Dragons, this can be a super fast attack, so do not blink, ladies and gentlemen, as General X has been using the Dragons quite a lot in this tournament. I don't think I've seen him use the E-Dragons too much though, so obviously just feels that the chain value is very good on this base, as he's got the heroes diving in towards the 3 o'clock area, nicely just creating that narrow path for the E-Drags, but there's a bunch of archers in the clan castle. That is about the worst CC you could have for the E-Dragons, because it just takes them quite some time to chain through it. However, there hasn't been a lot of damage there. Just haven't been able to get that eagle down on the right hand side though, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's definitely going to pack a wallet once again at some stage. The RC coming out there to play support to take on the Eagle Artillery ASAP to help with what's left of his E-Drags, you could say. There's only one left on the north, but the AD is going to take that down momentarily. There's not really much left, you know, not the best performance to go out in overall, but still is a little bit more time. But then again, what more can he do with the RC? Just barely able to stay alive. Not too sure he's popped his ability as of yet, but still able to continue on forward. And it's just going to be that Warden. And look at the value he's got from that RC, just popping at the very last second. So it does look like he can take down the defenses, and looks like he will have plenty of time to clear up the rest and get that 3 stars. So looks a little bit, you know, not in his favour at one stage, considering all the E-Drags he lost during that halfway stage. But the RC has made a huge amount here. But it looks like even with the cannon down and the mortar coming down next, the RC does get cleaned up. But you know what? With the Queen and Warden left, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're right, Judo. There we go. 3-star, Repotted Gaming finish off. You know, respectable, with a bit of pride left intact. But we must say, Repotted Gaming put on a great performance here at the ESL Mobile Challenge. But sadly for them, they are out of the competition. But by no means less, they definitely made an impact in the competition as well.
They certainly did, putting up an entertaining war in that one, but Tribe Gaming getting their spot into the finals. So we do know it is alternate attacks, Tompenai, MCES and Tribe, but we do need to confirm exactly who is in what seeding. We do have ATN guaranteed in seed 1, Tompenai guaranteed in seed 2, but MCES and Tribe have the same victories. It is 9 victories apiece. Or is it 8 victories apiece that they have now? No, it's 9, isn't it?
Oh,
Getting
well, I was
mixed
going to say, whilst, that's all right. Whilst you quickly check that, Judah, I'm going to make another point as well, is that Tompenai are probably praying that Tribe Gaming are not in for the 3rd seed, because isn't Tribe Gaming the team who have actually defeated Tompenai twice in a row in the last 2 wars? So they're probably keeping their fingers crossed that MCES don't come forth. But then again, Alternate Attacks are probably hoping that MCES aren't the 4th seed after what we saw in the war earlier on. So there's a lot to talk about here, and I must say there's a lot of skepticism in terms of like who's going to play what and why. So do you know what? They're probably hoping that Tribe are in 4th, MCES in 3rd, and so forth. But I don't think that's the case here. So we could see a very, very interesting ESL Mobile Challenge finals ahead of us in just over a week's time.
We certainly could. Like you said, the teams have kind of beat each other when you start getting to this top stage, but I do think for Tribe, if they get into that 3rd spot, it will indeed have them feeling a little bit more confident, beating Tompenai twice. One of the only teams to do so, actually. Tompenai beating both Alternate and MCES, so Tribe are surely wanting to get into that 3rd spot. But either way, once they get there, even if you go up against Alternate and lose and you go down to the lower bracket, you can still come back. However, it's more of the mental mind game, I feel. If you can win your first matchup and move forward in the upper bracket, it's just so much more confidence when you know you've also got that buffering room that you can lose a war and still come back.
Yeah, there's some teams out there where just like, oh, do you know what? It happens. Let's just crack on with the loser bracket. It's not like we can't win the whole thing anyway, nonetheless. But some people aren't, it's easy going as that. When they get a bit demoralised, then they do get deflated quite easily, and then it can follow through. I've seen some players and some teams go through that a lot, and there's some teams out there who are just perfectly fine with it. They're just like, oh, it don't matter. We've got a second chance. We could just crack on anyway. And, it's rare to see. It depends. That's when the professionalism comes in terms of your mental fortitude, being able to reset if you do lose that first game. But I feel like for us, and for the viewers at home watching this, I think the dream matches would be Alternate Attack versus MCES 1st and 4th seed, and Tribe Gaming versus Tompenai for 2nd and 3rd. Just the storylines in that would just be utterly ridiculous and filthy beyond belief, and we'll absolutely love it to no end.
You know what? I think we've hinted towards this. We both think that Tribe Gaming have more stars, particularly with their strong finish this week, getting 3 14-star wars. I think that might just nudge them over the top of MCES in terms of total stars. And once we do have that final clarification as to exactly who has the most stars, we will be finding out what the seeding is. But I think moving to the finals, it is going to be incredible either way. I mean, just think, Lethal, what these teams have had to do to get here. Yes, we've been concentrated in the last few weeks on the challenge stage of the tournament. They've had to get through ladder, through playing, through the challenge. They've gone on an incredible journey to get to this stage. Thousands and thousands of players, and we are now down to the final 4 teams, the top 20 players going for that huge prize money and the glory of taking first.
Yeah, whilst we wait for the leaderboard to be updated, of course, everyone behind the scenes are just making sure everything is in perfect order and make sure that there isn't any mistakes, just double checking everything before we confirm the seedings and the qualification process. But that's what the ESL Mobile is all about, to scout talent and to find any players who are looking to compete or have that competitive nature to be able to push on through to find anything they can do and see if they can deal with the top tier teams here in the competition to see exactly how they compare. But teams like Repotted Gaming have compared and shaped up really, really well. And it looks like we do have the update here as Alternate Attacks will have the 1st seed. Tompenai will be in 2nd. Tribe Gaming have actually scraped 3rd place, and MCES managed to get the 4th place spot. And we must say, just having a quick little look in terms of star count, it looks like MCES only lost by 6 stars to Tribe Gaming overall. That was really close.
193 total stars for Tribe Gaming, 187 for MCES. We might as well say the others as well, because Tompenai had 189 overall, but Alternate Attacks, Lethal, with 199 total stars across the challenge. That is very impressive.
It's disgusting to think that they got 199 stars, but from the top of my head, that's out of 210. So that's just ridiculous in itself. The fact that they was just 11 stars away from perfection is just ludicrous. Like, okay, I don't get me wrong, I know about how good they are as a team and their reputation, but still though, that's a really, really good record for them and a good stat line to go into the finals with, knowing that they're just that damn good against all these base builds. But you know, you got to remember at the same time, but Tribe aren't really too far off either with 193 stars. So they're only a little bit behind. And even Tompenai, we thought they would have a bit more stars than that, but they had 189. So, but again, you know, some great teams we've seen so far, some great players in a lot of these teams as well. But final thoughts from you, Judo, before we head off and discuss how things are going to pan out in the ESL Mobile Challenge finals.
Well, I am just so excited for the finals. As if it came down to the final matchup as well, Lethal. We couldn't have asked for a better ending, and I feel that is just a summary of what the tournament has been. It has been so competitive. I take my hat off to all of the players for sticking through this and giving it their all. Everybody at home for watching. It has been a fantastic challenge, and I can't wait to get to the finals.
I really can't either. Of course, not only that, thanks to Judo and Lady B here throughout the entire process of the ESL Mobile Challenge, and we do have the ESL Mobile Challenge finals in just over a week's time. So make sure you follow us at ESL Mobile to keep up with updates to find out when the dates are going to be leading up to that moment indeed. So we have the 4 teams, but the 4 teams actually coming through. It will be Tompenai, it will be Alternate Attacks, Tribe, and of course MCES. We wouldn't have had it any other way. We've got some great action coming up for you guys at home. So not only that, thanks to all the production at ESL and you guys, the viewers at home. But until then, we'll see you in just over a week's time for the ESL Mobile Challenge finals. Good night.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. All we know is ball to empty out the mouths. The chosen one they call, I take my fan with me. Know about it if you tell, know you're breaking codes. What your credibility and all fall like dominoes. Can you really take a stance? All I wanna know. Need me real ones when it's time to go. Stepping in, elevator, listen to all the haters. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is